up? What's up? What's up? What's up? We've been having technical difficulties, but I'm gonna make sure that you still see my intro. I worked hard on that thing. Here we go. I just wake up in the morning and I yell a lot, even though it's way too early. It's fun though. Wake up, wake up, wake up! There we go. That's better. All right. So I was on and I was talking to Carlos, as I was getting everything together. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning as usual. And sure enough, I go to start the show and I see that all of my my video clips that I play, my stingers and stuff, all of them are showing as like they're not like there's no there's an internet connection problem. And when I just try to go live, I had an internet connection problem. It says having problems connecting. So you know what that means. We hadn't even got started. I'm already.
It's the recliner of rage.
It's the recliner of rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Playing with my emotions, man. Playing with my emotions. I've been trying to walk a different path and this happens. This happens. All right. Got me in the dang recliner rage. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see who's in the chat right now. Let's go ahead and shout out to Carlos, who was here first, of course. He said the Central Time Zone is in the building. Well, it's not time for the Central Time Zone. We're still saying good morning to the East Coast. All right, the East Coast is the Beast Coast. All right. Let's see. We got Eric Eccles also representing Central Time Zone. I do think that it's amazing, though, that so many of you guys from the Central Time Zone wake up so early and come hang out with me. So I appreciate all of you guys for being here and all of your support. Alpha Fitness. Hey, my guy, Doug. Man, pause right there. Stop right there. Doug, man, I'm so proud of you. You and Team USA, y'all brought home the gold. Doug, if you guys were not aware, Doug Nostrand is a high level powerlifting coach, and he is also a coach for the U.S. Paralympic team. And Team USA brought home gold from France. Man, so proud of you, Doug, my man. All right, so let's see here. Said church fellas bringing the heat in the recliner of rage, sponsored by Freedom Fitness Equipment. That's right. Hey, it's so funny. I know I'm a shenanigans coordinator, but it always surprises me how easily I get people to go along with my schemes. The only person who's not surprised is my wife, because she's always like, she's on high alert when she says basically if she sees me talking to somebody, like she said that there's like a way that my hands start moving and my head kind of tilts to the side. She said, okay, he's trying to talk him into something. And she'll come in. She spoil my fun. Like there was this one time. This is a tangent. I'll tell y'all this story after that. Let's go through my list of things. First of all, we got to drum up some support for this little enterprise. I need you guys to hit that like button and hit subscribe to help me reach the goal of 50,000 subscribers. We are over 33,000, almost at 34,000. So you guys keep on like the video. If you've already subscribed, like the video, because that shows engagement. It tells YouTube that you want to see stuff like this on YouTube. So it'll actually also help out your algorithm and improve what you see less stuff that you're not interested in, more stuff that you do like. And then it also causes YouTube to show the video to more people. And then if you have not subscribed, you subscribe. Of course, that help right there is invaluable because you're moving me one step closer to the goal. So do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. If you are already a subscriber and you want to support the channel for 99 cents a month, you click that join button, 99 cents a month, and you're going to be supporting the channel. My goal is to be sponsored by you guys, not sponsored by anybody else. All right. And basically, if everybody who subscribes to me right now, we got 33,000 subscribers. Like I said, if everybody who subscribed to me right now, actually, if even half of you guys subscribe to me, who subscribe to me right now, would click that join button to support the channel, the channel will be self-funded, and I will only look at stuff that you guys want. I mean, basically, I'd work for you. So there's that. So go ahead. If you haven't already become a member, just click that join button. Become a member. Like I said, it's 99 cents a month. And Carlos is one of our members, and I appreciate you always being there and supporting me, my guy. All right. Let's see. Carlos said, I'm a super villain. Nah, man, I'm an anti-hero. Let's see here. What are you guys working on today? Carlos, I know you already did all your I know you've already done all your walking. Carlos is out in the park. All right. Crack of dawn. He brings the sun up out there. So I know you already did that. Rest of you guys, go ahead and throw in the chat what's on your workout schedule. And while you do that, I'll tell you what's on today's show. So, of course, we're always going to shout out each time zone when it is 6 a.m. for them. We're going to have news and other things. Got a couple of news items I want to talk about. I got a home gym channel recommendation. I really can't remember if I've already given this to you guys. So on the off chance I haven't, I'm going to go ahead and recommend the channel. And if you guys have already gotten the recommendation, just throw it in the chat. Say, hey, we already heard this. And I'll just stop right there. Of course, Recliner of Rage. You got a bonus Recliner of Rage about my internet, but we've got a Recliner of Rage about the power rack that I've been reviewing. And I'll go ahead. I'm mad again. So I'll tell you why. Then at 7:05, your friend and mine, 332, is back. That's right. Ashley Hromyak from Ashley the Amazing is back. And she is going to be answering questions about her YouTube channel. I know a lot of you guys may not be aware that Ashley has started a YouTube channel in addition to her Instagram and her TikTok. So we're going to talk about her YouTube channel, what she has on there, what's different about the YouTube channel compared to what she does on Instagram and TikTok. And of course, I want you guys to subscribe to that. Then we got Jaisyn Mike from Athletic Over Everything Apparel. He's going to come on and talk about wrist wraps. I know I just watched a very good wrist wrap review video from Jonathan over at No Fate 24/7 YouTube channel. You guys definitely need to check that out. In fact, I need to put I'll put the link to that in the description for this show, so you guys can check it out. But one wrist wrap brand that he didn't talk about, because a lot of you guys don't know about it, is Athletic Over Everything. And I'm telling you, I've been using these wrist wraps for a minute, and these are my favorite wrist wraps, hands down. I love these things, and it's easy to say you love them when somebody sends them to you. Well, I've also bought these wrist wraps and sent them to people out of my own pocket because I believe in them that much. And so Jason's going to be on here at 8:05 Eastern time, of course, and he's going to be talking about wrist wraps. No matter what brand of wrist wraps you decide to use, he's going to give you some information about how to wrap your wrists, also how to take care of your wrist wraps, and something that I'll bet you none of y'all know about wrist wraps that is very, very important. So that's at 8:05. And then at 9:05, Jake Jaworski is going to be back. He had a HomeGymCon update, and I told him he had to wait till today because he was actually scheduled. I know he was on last week, but he's actually scheduled to be on this week. So I said, you're going to give me this HomeGymCon update that he was teasing me with. Like, he sent me a text. He said, I got an update. I said, okay, well, tell me on the show. So I don't know what it is either. All right. So we're going to get that, and that's going to be at 9:05. So we got a packed show for you guys, and I appreciate everybody being here. Let's go ahead and jump right into the comment section before we head into our first segment. Michael V, the Vaudrey clan, is here. He says it's way too early for Recliner Rage. Dude, my internet betrayed me, man. It flipped my switches. So the storm is coming to Houston. Oh, that ain't good. Carlos, y'all just went through a tornado, hurricane? Y'all had something happen. Shut everything down, so you don't need that. Hey, our British representative, Matt Welch. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you guys leading the charge over there. They're a few hours ahead of us in terms of May 31st. Always appreciate you guys. What I don't appreciate is you're in the future. You got the common decency to let us know what's going to happen. That would be nice. I mean, you're in the future right now, Matt. You know, you're like 5 hours in the future. But do they tell us what's going to happen? Nope. Selfish. All right. Carps Gym. Today is a recovery day, but tomorrow I got RPE 10 block pull day. Nice. So I was, this is actually deload week for me. And I just said, I'm going to go old school on it. And I'm just going to do Wednesday, full body, all my lifts at like no more than 70%. Yeah. No, 60%. Yeah. No more than 60% on any lift. And I hit squat, bench, conventional deadlift, overhead press. And actually with the overhead press, I haven't done overhead press in a minute. I've done bottoms up kettlebell press and I've done landmine presses, but I stopped doing overhead press because my rib cage was lifting up. And so it was pretty, I was like, well, the weight's gonna be light. Let me go ahead and do some actual clean and press and just see how things are going. And I was really pleased because my rib cage stayed down and didn't have as much rib flare. So it shows that my upper back is getting stronger. And that is a good thing. And you dang right I wasn't happy, Matt. I was not happy about that. We got, yeah, he's a Super Saiyan. Let's see. Carp, see here. Good morning to all the early risers. Hey, the better half of the Vaudreuil clan is here. Joyce, what's up? Always good to have you. Joyce, if you guys did not know, Joyce was a guest star on Tom Finn's channel. I forgot what the YouTube channel is called. And they had the Booty Band Bonanza brand, whatever. He tried to get her to say that 3 times fast, and she did okay. You did okay, Joyce. You did all right. Brian Pankey, everybody's favorite uncle except mine. He's my brother, y'all's uncle. He has arrived. Hey, glad you could be here, man. Stick around for a minute. And my man Matt says he's letting me build experiences. Thank you. Appreciate that. I still would prefer if you know, it would have been nice if when I woke up, there's a text message from you, Matt, saying, hey, by the way, your internet's going to mess up the opening of the show, so you might want to try to start the show a little bit early. That would have been helpful. Like I said, you're in the future. You're in the future, Matt. Come on now. Let me live. Let me live a little bit. Joyce said, yeah, those guys are nuts. She happily played. Yeah, Tom Finn is he's bananas. He's a fun guy. I actually hope he's not a home gym guy, but he is, as far as I know, but he is a loose cannon. So I hope he does come back, because what I loved about it is how he was just like, he came in, he's like, I don't even know what this is, but I'm here for it. So it was really cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first, I told you guys we got a packed show as usual. So let's go ahead and jump into the news. All right, news and other things. So let's first news item, and this is something that Carp has already mentioned on his YouTube channel. Let's talk about the Dane, because the Dane from Fringe Sport is here. Let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen with you guys, because I want to talk about the Dane a little bit. I want to know, because I want to know what you guys think of it. So the Dane is a functional trainer half rack combo from Fringe Sport. It just dropped. You guys can kind of see it. It would have been nice if I started at the top of the thing, but that's not where I was. So it's $24.99 with free shipping, or rather shipping included. Okay, shipping is embedded in the price. Nothing's free, as my dad would say. But $24.99 shipping included to the lower 48 states. Sorry, Alaska. Once again, you made poor choices. Move south and it'll get better. But this is what it is right there. You guys can see some of the stuff that you can do on it. It's got the little, the standard, the foot plate for the low pulley row stuff. One thing I like about it is, so this is supposed to be a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if it says 100 pounds, it's 100 pounds. You have some rack functional trainers like this that are 2-to-1. So basically if it says 100, it's actually 50, which isn't necessarily bad if it's 2 stacks on each side like this is, because you're still going to get 100 pounds each one. But it means that if you're using just one side, you kind of got to figure out, make some adjustments so that you get enough weight. But I do like that. I like how the pulleys look. I'm not sure if these are aluminum, but they look like they might be aluminum. Let's zoom in a little bit right there. That's really good if they are, because it's going to, not only does it look good, but it's also helps out with durability. Of course, you got the handles right there. I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't stick with those handles. I'd probably upgrade to some handles from like Bear Steel Equipment or something like that. Some Sandwich J cups, got the Fringe Sport on them. That's very nice. Very good looking. All right. There you see our fearless supermodel right here. He's doing pull-ups on it. Now that's important, and that's actually goes to one of the things that I really like about this, because this is this unit is actually 93 inches tall. I absolutely love that, because so many of these things are short, man. I cannot stand it. Let's go down here to the ye old specs, so you guys can see that it is 93 inches tall. It's 60 feet deep, so that's 5 feet from the from these feet right here that are, you know, you need to put those on for stability. But so from the edge of the feet all the way to the back, you got 90 feet of clearance, and it's going to be 47 inches across. So a little under 4 feet across, 5 feet going from front to back, and 93 inches tall. And you guys may have seen when I posted on Instagram where I was like, I don't like these short power racks, man, because you end up, if it seems like it's good for you, oh, it'll fit in my space, but then what ends up happening is you end up being limited. Even if you do have a short ceiling, they need to have something where there's an offset pull-up bar, because otherwise what ends up happening is you end up having to like sit down, like bend your legs to do pull-ups or whatever, you know. It just doesn't work out. And then even something like so Luke from Luke's Garage Gym was saying, he's like, yeah, if you he said he has to sit on the floor to do pull downs on any of these short racks. And I'm like, yeah, but if you sit on the floor, as soon as you put any serious weight on it, it's going to lift you up, so you're not going to be able to do pull downs. So I can't stand anytime a rack is under 80 inches. It drives me bananas. And then I don't need short racks anyway, because I got 100 inches of clearance from the top of my stall mats to the bottom of my ceiling joist is 100 inches. So I don't need, you know, one of these little short racks or anything like that. So what do you guys think of the Dane? I know most of you guys haven't touched it. Only person that I know of who's actually had time to play with it is Matt Pendergraph, because he actually has to do, he does photography. Part of his brand services is photography, and he does photography for Fringe Sports, so he got to play around with it. In fact, if you go check out Matt Pendergraph on Instagram, you'll see he's got some videos and some photos of himself on the Dane just doing stuff with it. Kyle from Kaizen DIY mentioned that he's used it, and there are some things that he's already found that he would like to change with it. I know one thing that jumped out to me that I do not like at all is where the cable terminates. So Carlos, all right, let's just start. So he says, cool with you because you're 3'2" and a quarter tall. Okay, I hear that. This thing is, you know, 93 inches, so you don't have to worry about the height. But I'll do a comparison. All right, so let's share the screen. So here's a comparison. I think in terms of cost, this thing compares well with the Body Solid GPR FT, or if you want the Selectorize, this is actually the GPR FTS. So that's the Selectorize, and the GPR FT would be the same thing but plate loaded right there. Anyway, so you can see that the price of this is $19.95, but this is not a standalone piece. So this is the GPR FT. You still have to have the GPR itself, which is the rack, in order to make it work. Okay, so it's not a standalone like the Dane is. The Dane is the whole thing. So you would still have to purchase a GPR 400, and I believe that's about $2,500. So you're looking at about $5,000 for this entire unit right here. And if you look at the height of it, here, let's give you this is what it looks like right there. All right. And if you look at the height of it, it is, I think, 70 something inches, 70 inches and yeah, 77 inches. I'm sorry, 81 inches tall. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not the 77 inches is how long it is, because it's 2 units in one. But the entire thing is only 81 inches. So that may sound like a lot, but literally think about it. If you are 5'10", then the top of your head, the top of your head is right there, right? You're 70 inches. If you're 6 feet and you stick your arm in the air, well, here, this is the problem with, so I'm 5'9". This is the problem with, one of the problems I have with short power racks. Check this out right here. No, that's the wrong one. Hold up a second. Here. My bad. I'll find it in just a second. I told you guys I had some technical difficulties. So when I started the show, this happened. There you go. And so check this out. There you go. So like I said, I'm only 5'9", but when I'm pressing over my head, if I happen to be inside the rack, I want to do some pin presses out of the rack. It's like the bar hits the top of the rack. And so that's why I don't like short power racks. So I really like the fact that the Dane is 93 inches tall. But what I don't like about the Dane, let's go back to it real fast, is I don't like where the cable terminates. So let me show you what I'm talking about. The cable terminates in a spot that I don't like. So you guys see right here, the Dane, the cable is running up behind the front post. They're up behind the backs on the back side of the front post. And I don't like that because that's where you're going to put your what you call it. Let's see right here. That's the same place where you're going to put your J hooks. So you see right there, the cable is in the same place as your J hooks. Now it may not look like that's a big deal, but it is. So stuff gets in the way. And that's what I'm saying. I don't like that. It's not as bad as some I've seen because there's a little bit of clearance there because they don't have it like right up against the back of it. But what I would prefer is that I would prefer if they had it to the side of the post, kind of like Rep has with their Aries and Athena. The cable terminates on the side of the post. And in fact, Body Solid does the same thing with the GPRFT. So I'll show you guys what I'm talking about right now. For all of those who are just listening, just come on back and check out. We're about, we're only like 25 minutes into the show. So you'll be able to just jump ahead and I'll put timestamps on it so you guys can see it. But anyway, so if you look at where the cable is running, you can see it best over here. All right, so it terminates on the side. All right, so that cable does not interfere at all with the movement of with you putting J hooks on. And I know people say, well, you could just take the trolley and put it up at the very top. But the point isn't the trolley being in the way. The point is, even when the trolley is all the way up at the top, or if it were all the way at the bottom, it's still going to get in the way. I've done reviews on 3 separate power racks that were set up this way. And in every single one of them, the J hooks were interfered with by this cable because the cable's in the back. So if the cable's on the side, it runs up and terminates on the side, then you don't have that problem. And that's, I say that's probably like the major thing that I don't like. Oh, we got another member of the UK here. Oh no, wait a minute. This is a different Tom. My guy, Tommy Hornick, talking about way too sleepy for a podcast. Y'all don't know who Tommy Hornick is. Tommy is part of my my backup trio singing on the Recliner of Rage segment. Tommy is the funky drummer drumming as well too. He's a DJ. Glad you're here, man. Stay awake. Stay up. Stay up. So let's see here. Carp said Gluck did a good job on his review. It was more in depth. Dude, I don't even care. This is gonna sound harsh, and I'm not dunking on you, Carp. I don't care about anything that Coop does. Okay, I don't care. I don't. My expectations of Coop have been very low for almost a decade. Okay, because of things that I've seen him do to people I know, And so I don't even watch his stuff, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's that. But I mean, Adrian Gluck does a very good job. He's very thorough. He's very entertaining. So I expect him to do a good job with his reviews. You guys also got to think too that as big as Gluck's channel is, as big even as Kyle from Kaizen DIY's channel is, we're all still climbing that ladder. You know what I mean? My channel is not big at all, you know, in the grand scheme of things, but we're all still climbing that ladder. So we're still working hard. When somebody is at the point where they kind of feel like they've made it, they start to kind of slow down a little bit, because you also can burn out. I mean, I tell you, I mean, look, I told you I've been up since 4 a.m. This grind can get on you. It can wear you down. So that's part of the reason why I get other people to do reviews for my channel as well, because it helps me sustain what I'm doing, because there are days when I can kind of like take a break and relax. You know, if my daughter's got an event, or I want to just, you know, like my 20th wedding anniversary is coming up, and I will probably put a review from someone else up that week, simply because I'm not going to be doing video reviews on my anniversary weekend. It just ain't going to happen. You know, so especially not the 20th year anniversary. Nah, stop it. So anyway, but yeah, I think a lot of Adrian's work ethic and the quality of his work. And yeah, I expect that he actually used it and tested it. Another thing that I like about Gluck, Joyce, is he has a building on his property where he has more than one rack at a time. So he's got the space to have 2 racks set up at the same time. I don't have that. I don't have space for 2 racks. Not if I want to have anything else in my gym and actually use it. So because he has space for 2 racks, he can compare them against each other. Even if he doesn't mention the other rack in his review, it's something that is in his head, and he can say, oh, well, compared to this other one, you know what I mean? Whereas I have to kind of rely on my memory. So there's that. He says it looks like a dog cage with a cable crossover. You know, I wish they had it out in time for HomeGymCon, but, you know, so I could see it up close. But I will say that, I mean, they already had their Midas, and they already had their dumbbells. So I mean, Fringe did have some new stuff there, but I wish the Dane had been out and available at that time. They just, you know, they didn't do it, because it would have been nice to be able to play with it. My wife and I are planning on visiting Fringe, and this is going to be one of the products that we're going to want to like put our hands on and play around with a little bit. And yeah, he said small trade-off for a sharp price. And to be honest with you, that's my viewpoint about a lot of the changes that I think could need to be made with power racks. A lot of times when I'm reviewing a power rack, especially a power rack, I'm like, look, you already spent all this money making it. Why not move this over here, you know, or do this? Like, take the extra time. It's not going to cost you that much more money, and it'll save stop people like me from talking trash about your rack. You know what I mean? So why not just make the little changes? Let's see here. Jonathan, no fate. Yeah, you need that Rocky 3 mentality. Look, it is a grind, but Jonathan understands that. Jonathan, tell me, what do you think of the Dane? Do you have a review of the Dane coming out? Because I know you do a good job of, whenever stuff comes out, you kind of like check out what it's supposed to do, what they're telling you it's going to do on their website, and then kind of make some inferences. So interested to see what you think of it. My big thing is that I love the fact that it's 93 inches tall. And I'm not a fan that the cable runs up the back side of the front post. I wish they put it out to the side like they do with the Rep, Aries and Athena. Said my wife will appreciate me not doing stuff on my, heck, it's my 20th anniversary too. I enjoy spending time with her. I'm not trying to be, you know, I love y'all and I love what I do, but I'm not interested in that week. We take a break. And I'm coming up with solutions for this show too, for that one weekend. That might be the one weekend where I don't go live. I'll still have something up for y'all at this time, but that might be the one weekend where I don't go live. All right. And look, 20th year anniversary, it is what it is. No fake checking in to chew bubblegum and hit the like button, of course. And and I'm all out of bubblegum. Well, hey, you got no other choice then. Matthew Porter. Hey, what's up, man? Matt, I saw your video that you tagged me in, by the way, of the Steinborn. I will give you a video Steinborn tutorial. I've actually already done one, so I'll just send you the video link after the show is over. It's not as difficult as people like to make it seem like it is. Typically when somebody goes to do it, they work too hard. Let's just put it like that. All right, but I appreciate you being here, my man. Carp says, I understand that. I have a review coming out. He says one of his personal training neighbors is going to test it for him and use it with her private studio clients. Oh, that's nice. That's exactly that. That's good, because then you get feedback from not just one person, but also multiple people with the clients and see how they like it. So that's really good too, because sometimes, we can be, as reviewers, we can also be too nitpicky, because when somebody sends you something, especially if they send it to you for free, it can go either way. Like for me, if I spend money on something, I'm super picky, and I'll give you a little bit more grace if I didn't spend money on it. But then it'll kick in. I'm like, well, this isn't necessarily for me. I'm reviewing this for people who are going to spend money. So then that flips my hypercritical switch again, and I go back and being too nitpicky. So I think someone who just gives their opinions based upon using it with multiple different people as clients is going to give you some valuable feedback. Oh, Fringe doesn't talk to you anymore. Well, I don't know what you did to make him mad, but Peter's a good dude, man. Y'all can patch that up. He thought the price was right, lots of value on the Dane, but far from their best. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I see some things that could be tweaked, and Kyle said he's got some suggestions for them that he's already told them. I really hope they fix that thing with the cable track, which way the cable runs. Update from the future. Be careful for your recliner rage intro. You pressed the wrong button. He said, we sore the bathroom mirror. So I'm sore from the bathroom mirror double bicep selfie I did last night. Well, okay, here's the thing. I did that this morning. So that shows what you know. You just stick to worrying about the future, okay? Don't worry about the past. We don't live in the past. Jonathan says he wished they added band pegs. I didn't even notice that there are no band pegs on it. I believe you. I'm just going to go look at it, though. You know what? That's right. There are no band pegs. And, I guess maybe I didn't think about it because I don't really use band pegs a whole lot. I've had band pegs on maybe 3 or 4 different racks, and I've never used them. Primarily because I'm at the point in my training, it just worked out that way, where I'm just going straight weight. So I'm not using accommodating resistance. I'm not using dynamic tension. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So there's that. But yeah, again, it's not just for me. It's for a broad cross section of people. See here, Matt says he did not. The Steinborn did. Yeah, I'm glad the Steinborn didn't kill you, man. Hey, by the way, guys, if you have questions for Ashley, I want you guys to start putting them in the chat, and I'll star them so I don't forget them. But she's going to be joining us in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So I don't want to. I want you guys to start throwing your questions in here just in case you have to get out. It can be about anything about her YouTube channel or just any questions in general. I agree. Jonathan says Peter Keller's a great dude and a gem of an owner in the home gym community. I agree. Peter Keller's a good dude, man. So I lost my wallet, and he found it and kept it with him until I found him, and then he gave me my wallet intact. So that was at HomeGymCon. Good dude. I got nothing but great things to say about Peter. Carp says the Fringe Dane is cool, so they're offering Clear Ground for no upcharge. But that's out of stock, so it's on pre-order. They probably did give the Claire one, like if the Claire code is your superstar, that's the one you're going to give to the people that are going to do the reviews, right? Because that's going to kind of drum up the interest in it. And, that's the cool Instagram pictures and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Okay. The body solid one, you said it looks like you just will be crammed in it. So this is like an inside joke between me and Brian. Every time I say like that, I think of his old foreman. And I don't mean to do. I think I only do it when I'm talking to you too, because I used to make fun of him so much. Now it's a speech pattern I can't stop doing. Anyway, my big thing about the body solid rack is it's just short. When I saw the rack at HomeGymCon, I much preferred the SPR, which is their commercial version, and that's about 100 inches tall. It's the same rack, but it's 100 inches tall. And I like that you have two options with them. But I just think, honestly, man, I just think short racks, if you can get away from a short rack, don't get it. Because what you end up doing if you get a short rack is then a lot of times guys end up reaching out to somebody like Black Widow and getting Dane to add an extension to make their rack taller. So you're still spending money. You know what I mean? So, Eric says, I think the Dane just sealed the deal that I need to go custom. So are you going to Frankenstein a rack, Eric? Or are you planning on doing you going to Frankenstein a rack, or are you going to get the, something like the Dane, but then get them to customize it? I'm actually curious. Band pegs to add weight to the weight stacks via band tension. I mean, sure, but to be honest with you, let me look at this thing again. The weight stack, it's two 160-pound weight stacks. So, I mean, that's a lot of weight. I don't see anybody in most cable movements needing more than that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of weight. I'm no math doctor, but that's a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the math right here. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do 320 pounds of total weight on? I mean, like what? Tricep press downs? I mean, I don't see it. Maybe rows, but even then, man, I don't. What was Ashley's? So this is for Ashley. What was her favorite piece of new equipment she tried at HomeGymCon? All right, Joyce. So I got that starred. Yeah, okay, I see that. Band pegs to add weight to the stack. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I mean, it's already 320 pounds total. So let me put it like this. When we use the Aries, I actually, at HomeGymCon year 1, I brought up, the whole idea of putting like adder weight pins and all that kind of stuff. And their weight stack was similar. I don't know, Aries or Athena, whichever one is the selectorized one. And Adam was there, and he was just like, he said, man, that's a lot of weight. He says 1-to-1 ratio. He said, what are you going to use more than 320 pounds on? The average person, or even some strong dudes. I mean, what are you going to do? Flies with 160 pounds? So I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that's probably why they didn't do it. And so also they need to keep the price of the Dane the same, not raise it after Coop's great review, which accidentally happened with the Raptor. Man, I understand introductory pricing, and then you raise it after a while because you do need to recoup your money. But I think if you're going to do something like that, it doesn't need to be drastic, because if you do that, what's going to end up happening is nobody's going to buy it until you get to sales. I don't want to have to wait until there's a sale like Black Friday or something. I don't shop on Black Friday anyway, but I don't want to have to wait till some sale just to be able to afford the thing. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's not me. I'm not the one having to pay their building mortgage. So, that's their thing. Okay, so here's the answer. So Eric said he was talking to Dean at Black Widow last night. He's going to add his own stack. He's thinking about doing a 3-post half rack, like Stray Dog, but with a pulley system. That's the thing I've got. I've got my forever in between power rack, and that's kind of what I'm doing with it. I'm just Frankensteining it, because the things that I want from a rack, I mean, I'll probably end up, to be honest with you, in the long run, you probably end up spending more money, but it's like, it's a rack that's set up for what you want to do, not generic for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's the thing. It's okay. So I hear what you're saying, low row with 160, but I'm not looking at it like I'm not looking at it like I'm doing 160 on one side. I'm more looking at it like I'm holding both stacks in my hand, and I'm doing the low row in the center, if that makes sense. I know that they've got the little foot plate that's supposed to be on one post, but honestly, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? I would just do both at the same time. So that's my thing. And then, to be honest with you, if I'm doing that, I might sit on the bench, take my utility bench. I'm working out of my head now. Like we used to when I worked at the public gym, we take a utility bench and set it up in front of the weight stack, sit down on the utility bench, and then you kind of have a hybrid seated row and bent over row. So you kind of it's almost like a T-bar row with tension. So that's probably how I would do it. We are joined by the celebrities from the Gyms Near Me podcast. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Ashley question. All right. We will ask her that. All right, got that. Eric says he doesn't need a 6 post taking him half his gym. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that there's when you're setting up your home gym, you kind of want it to be like, there's a temptation to just put everything on the rack. But if you can spread it out a little bit and take advantage of your entire space, I think you're better off. And sometimes, like, that's why I love Bells of Steel, but that's why I don't like their thing where it's like they have the post sticking it, like the Batwing idea. I'm like, dude, I don't have that much space. That just wouldn't work in my home gym. So nah. Single column. Okay. Yeah, Dean makes good stuff, man. I mean, just in general, there's a reason why people go to him to cut, like they'll get a rack and then they go to him to customize it to make it better. So yeah. Nah, you guys are celebrities, man. You're building notoriety across the community. All right. So that was our conversation about the Dane. You guys keep on throwing your questions for Ashley in the chat, and I will star them as I see them. Let's move on to the next thing I have. This is just for fun. All right. I got a random question from Threads. And I was like, because it sounds like this sort of thing that I think I might ask Ashley this question too. But random question. So I'm on Threads. You guys, if you're on Threads, I'm on Twitter, but I'm not really on Twitter. All right. You don't ever see me there. But I am on Threads, and I prefer that to Instagram, to be honest with you. So if you follow me on Instagram, go to Threads, open up a Threads account, and follow Garage Gym Life on Threads. Anyway, so let's see here. This is the thing, right? So this was Threads. And this was the question. It says, if you were sold as an action figure, what 2 accessories would you come with? And I was like, oh. So then I asked my wife the same question, and the same thing happened to her. Like, I got my answer, right? So I eventually said, oh, yeah, a dog and a weight set. But it's like to just, like, what? So that's my question. You guys go ahead and put it in the chat. If you were sold as an action figure, what 2 hold up. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. But what 2 accessories would you come with if you were an action figure? So there you go. That's the question of the day. And I just want to see what you guys have to say. Kind of give me some insight into how y'all think. Let's see. Now, we're going to do this because I keep on having this happen. And I'm like, it can't continue happening. All right. I absolutely positively promise that I'm going to give you guys a home gym channel recommendation. So I need to give you a home gym channel recommendation. So, and it's not that I haven't wanted to do it. But this is a good problem to have. People always think that oh man, how can you do 3-hour podcasts? I'm like, a 3-hour show, you'd be surprised. It goes by quickly. Like, we're already at 6:45. All right. It feels like we just started. We're already 45 minutes in, and we've been running out of time. And this segment is something that I want to keep doing because not just because I'm trying to, these are channels that are successful. They don't need me. It's for you guys. I'm like, hey, I want you guys to know about more home gym channels that can help you instead of just more of the same stuff, give you some variety. So I'm going to go ahead right now and give you guys a recommendation, and that is Alexander Bromley. you guys need to check out Alexander Bromley. So you may know about him, you may not, but he has he's a strength competitor. I believe he's got a strongman background, but he also does quite a powerlifting style training. He was a guest on Table Talk with Dave Tate last year. And, Dave Tate doesn't just let people on if they don't know their stuff. So that should give him some street cred if you're not familiar with Alexander Bromley. But now I will admit that I frequently disagree with his views. But that's not because I don't think he knows what he's talking about. It's because he approaches training through the lens of someone who's training for a strength sport like strongman or powerlifting, right? And the reason I have an issue with that is strength sports like strongman and powerlifting originally were just exercises a bunch of people enjoyed. Then they said, hey, let's test ourselves on it. And they decided to turn it into a sport. So like powerlifting originally was odd lifting because it wasn't originally, we just had the Olympic lifting. We had Olympic lifting, right? Or weightlifting. And then, and bench press was actually an accessory exercise because the weightlifters, Olympic lifters, were getting so much upper back work. Think about this. Olympic lifters were getting so much upper back work that their chests, that they were starting to have health issues. So they had to start bench pressing to fix their their imbalances. Just think about that. And so these are accessory movements. And also some of them. So George Hackenschmidt was also instrumental in this because he started out floor pressing because he's a wrestler. And so he wanted, it would help him with his wrestling. So anyway, the point is it was just exercises. And then it became the sport of powerlifting. So to me, to just look at training strictly through the lens of sports like powerlifting or strongman, it's kind of silly because, if you're turning your nose up at other things, because even powerlifting and strongman used to just be stuff that people just kind of did. CrossFit is a sport now. I remember when CrossFit was just a thing people did. So anyway, like kettlebell juggling, for example, is where powerlifting was when it first started. And now it's become a sport. So anyway, I don't think you should look down on stuff. But regardless, I think he's an extremely knowledgeable strength athlete and coach. And he's got some thought-provoking, interesting content. He's definitely worth the subscribe. Let me show you some of the stuff that I think, some of the stuff he's got that I like how people who want strength over size, talks about the pound for pound method. This is one of the videos that's on my watch list right now where he says he trained like a 1970s powerlifter for 30 days. And he's talking about what happened. He's benching and watching bodybuilding videos. I used to do that in my home gym all the time. I'd work out and have pumping iron on. Flex Wheeler's video also we'd have on in the background. Just, he's just, there's a lot of stuff. He's got a reaction to Mark Ripito, who's himself a controversial figure. But anyway, like I said, Alexander Bromley, that's a home gym channel I could recommend. He does a lot of stuff that's cool, and he does it from his home gym. So go ahead and give him a subscribe. And if he asks you how you found him, tell him me, because he don't know I'm alive. Yeah, so Carp says Bromley was doing a 70s powerlifting program. Yeah, definitely. And he's done quite a number of videos where he's talking about 70s powerlifting programs. He talked about 5x5. I think he talked about Bob Young's training program. He talked about there was something, a bunch of different things. So I think he's a good thought-provoking follow. So I really recommend him. All right, let's talk about your accessories. Andrew Towers, I don't understand why I don't see what your accessory would be if you were an action figure. All right, Andrew has action figure hair. Okay, I don't know if y'all knew that, but he's got action figure hair. He looks like he's got the hair of a Star Wars character. No. Prince of Persia. Yeah, Andrew's got Prince of Persia hair. So yeah, I want to see what your accessories are. All right, so let's see here. Eric said he'd have the Kung Fu grip for sure. Oh, definitely. Oh, that's guaranteed. So you'd have the Saxon grips, and you'd have to have something else that'd be your accessory. What kind of hate is this? Tattoos said, Matt says, new message from the future. You never get over your hate for resistance bands, and you look fly in your new butterfly suit. That's fake news. We know that. We definitely know I don't have a butterfly suit. I don't like doing butterflies in gym class. Carb Jim said the He-Man sword and a barbell. That's a solid choice right there. There you go. That's a man who grew up in the correct era. Back when cartoons were on, when you got home from school, and we had cartoons all Saturday morning before the Kung Fu movies came on, and you could either watch Kung Fu movies or Godzilla. Yeah, that's good times. Carlos said his accessories would be a projector and a power rack. That makes sense. Okay. Tommy said my 2 action figure accessories will be a sandwich and another sandwich. Look at you two-fisting. Okay. 2-fisted sandwiches. Sandwiches. All right. By the way, I got to send you a text. I got to hit you up later on today, Tommy, because what I talked to you about in church last Sunday might actually need to happen. Remember I told you not worry about it? We might need to worry about it, but it's cool. It'll be all right. He subbed to, yeah, he did. I remember he put Kurt's clip in one of his videos. So yeah, that's definitely. I remember that. Like I said, man, he's a home gym dude. He actually is someone I would love to see at HomeGymCon because, you know, no offense to Matt Winning, no offense to any of the guys who, you know, Midwest Kong, any of those guys, those aren't home gym guys, you know, and I like HomeGymCon to be about home gym guys and us interacting with each other, no matter where we are in terms of notoriety. You know what I mean? Just put it this way. You don't go to the Disney, what do you call the Disney thing? The Disney May the 4th celebration and see people from DC movies, the DC Cinematic Universe there. You don't see Star Trek people at the May the 4th celebration, Star Wars celebration. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of how I look at public gyms versus home gyms. Andrew, I know I'm right. When I'm right, I'm right. And even if I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm right because I might have been wrong. That's just something you should just know that. Write that down. When I'm right, I'm right. And even if I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm right because I might have been wrong. All right. There you go. That's something to always know about me. Carp said he likes Bromley's strongman series, how to do the lifts or how to hack and game the movements with form and technique. It's not always strength. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it goes back to him approaching training like you're getting ready for a strength sport. You're getting ready to compete in a strength sport. And I like that. And I mean, that actually, okay, if that's the focus of your channel, that's the focus of your channel. I'm just saying, I don't think you should look down on stuff that doesn't. It's different if you say, hey, well, that might be cool if you're only training for general fitness, but don't call it BS, which is what he'll do sometimes. Oh, that's BS. I don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. All right, here we go. Secret revealed. Your accessories are coffee and pipe tobacco? Really? No weapons. Anyway, I guess the coffee is technically a weapon. And if it's hot enough, it is effective, and it can only be used once. So you use it and they can't use it against you. They can't take it and use it against you. There's that. That ain't right. Hey, you know what kind of party you were stumbling into, Carlos. All right, so that was Home Gym Channels you never heard of. Now, before we get Ashley in here, it is time for the segment y'all wait for. And that's right, it is time for the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
All right, so what's got me irritated, angry, filled with rage, and upset, got a lot of hate and discontent right now, is this power rack. Now, the thing is, okay, yes, I still want you to watch the review, but it's taking me a little bit longer to do the review than it normally would, because this is a first impressions review. Normally, you give me 7 days. I mean, I know what my first impressions are. But with this, and I even reached out to the brand and said, hey, look, this isn't going to be positive. And they said, go ahead. And to their credit, they said, go ahead, just so long as you talk about the good points of the rack as well as the bad points, right? And I think that's an admirable way to look at it, because that's how you make your product better. So still watch the review. But I can't help but complain about this one thing, and it grinds my gears. Okay, so just watch this and I'll talk you through it. So here we go. So right here, the problem is the rack has storage hooks, right, that are right up there. You guys can right across the top. The problem is those storage hooks, they look like they're fine, but they're actually not deep enough to allow that to allow the pull down attachment to sit in the top of the rack, right? So you couldn't sit it on, well, you can sit it on top of it, you can't sit it in there. And then because there's no center hook, I'm showing you one more time. Right here, I'm using the cable pulleys, and look at that. All right, everything's all fine and dandy, right? But look right there. See, it's interfering with the cable path. That makes no sense. All you have to do is make the hook. All you have to do is make the hooks deep enough so you can set the pull down bar into it. That's option one. Option two, just screw an extra hook in the center so I can hang the pull down attachment in the center so it's not interfering with the cable path. Literally, all you had to do was that. You already put two other hooks on either side. Take the extra 30 seconds and add one more hook. You're not even the ones putting it on there because I had to assemble it. So send an extra hook in the package. Seriously, act like you care. The thing's got your name and it's out there for the God and everybody. Where's your pride? Okay. This Recliner Rage is sponsored. Actually, I'm still mad. I can't stand it because not only is it in my house, they've already sold a bunch of it to people, and those people who are doing the reviews on it all singing the praises of this rack and how wonderful it is. I'm like, you don't see that? You don't see that. You don't care about the people who are watching your video and who are just saying, oh, this is wonderful. They're going to spend their hard-earned money on this piece of garbage because you don't care. Okay. I'm good now. The Recliner of Rage is sponsored by Freedom Fitness Equipment, and they wouldn't sell this thing in their store. So there's no need to be in a Recliner Rage if your home gym is outfitted with what you need to achieve your fitness goal. Call Ashley on his phone number. Literally, this is his phone number, 980-216-4860. He'll work with you to help you build the best gym in town. And yes, still watch the review. I got more things that I'm going to bring up in there. But for right now, that's why I'm in the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Okay, so we have, that's right, the legendary 332 is backstage right now watching. 332 street name, A Boogie. All right, y'all didn't know that. That's Ashley's breakdance name. I don't know if y'all were aware of that, but she is backstage. Let's go ahead and let's just I'm not calming down, Michael. I'm not. Well, I'm calmed down now, but I'll get mad again later because I still got to shoot the video after. I got to shoot the review video after this is done, as I'm going to shoot it and then send it off to the brand. And in all seriousness, it's basically going to be me giving them suggestions, ways that they can improve the product. It just irritates me when other people see the improvements that need to be made and they don't care because all they care about is getting paid, whatever. Lazy boy and chill. Outrageous. All right. Hey, Boogie, are you ready? All right. Let's go ahead and let's bring her to the stage. You know her. You love her. The legendary 332. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Even though my dang, don't put me back in the Recliner Rage. There we go. There you go. All right. I don't like it when your theme music doesn't play.
Good morning.
I don't like that. So I've already been having technological. Oh, yeah, sure. Technical difficulties because technology is betraying me. So we're having technological issues. See how I'm right there. I conjugated, there you go. All right. All right. Ashley, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm calming down. There's there's a movement in the chat for me to get a lazy boy and chill out a little bit
Yeah,
after they
I saw
saw my latest
Michael
outburst.
say that.
No, I'm not doing it. Anyway, like I told Carlos this morning, it's always full speed ahead with me unless we need to go faster. All right. So you already got getting love. So Michael says he loved meeting you at HomeGymCon 2024. You guys, were you guys both in the I mean, you obviously were both on the show, but were you guys in the like little seating area at the same time?
Yeah, that's how we
In that
met.
conference
And Michael, I don't know if you saw it, but I posted our interview together with the your dumbbell system, and it did really good. Like, it's got a lot of views.
Oh yeah. So I saw it because I watch your channel, and so let's go ahead and just throw that up there right now. Everybody subscribe to Ashley the Amazing on YouTube. All right. And of course, I want you guys to subscribe to follow Ashley. Okay. ___ the ___ amazing ___.
Yeah,
That's where we got
332.
332. That's it. That's what we got. 332. All right. So you guys make sure you guys are following her. So Ashley, let's just jump right into it because I know you don't have a ton of time. You've got it's not brand new, but it's fairly new. Your YouTube channel. And your videos they're getting some good views. You're not at 1,000 subscribers, but your video, you're gonna get there because your videos are getting thousands of views. So that is awesome. So let's just begin with the basics. What is the goal of your YouTube channel?
Well, I've been on YouTube for a little over a month now. So totally late to the game, but better late than never. So the goal is, I have so many ideas. So right now I'm just kind of sharing exercises and home gym equipment, but I eventually want to do workouts, like show people like, hey, if you have just dumbbells or if you just have a barbell or just cables or you only have like certain equipment, I want to make specialized workouts for people so that they can have access to that for free and be able to use all this cool equipment that we're now able to have in our home gyms.
Heck yeah. And I am 100% in favor of that because, I'm always like, I'm doing like the home gym channels you never heard of. And it's always like, when I bring up a channel, people say, oh, well, I didn't think of it as a home gym channel because they talk about exercise. They don't talk about gym equipment, right? And I think part of the reason why like exercise channels where they feature people who go to a public gym don't get that stigma is because they can't very well talk about equipment because they don't own the gym that they're training in. They're just there. So they got no choice. They've got three options. They can focus on food in some capacity, so nutrition of some kind, including supplementation. They can focus on building muscle, and they can focus on fat loss, which I guess is still a subcategory of food. But that's what I mean. It's like, what else are they going to talk about? So I think that home gym channels, if you're based in a home gym, people expect you to talk about the stuff that we train on all the time. And I mean, honestly, for me, that gets boring. I don't want to watch. I love HomeGymCon. I'll go every year that it's available, but I don't want to talk about and only consume gym equipment because at some point you got to use the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's that.
And I've been very fortunate. You kind of introduced me to this home gym space for like equipment reviews when we did the RitFit, the first piece, the hack squat leg press combo. And since then, it's just been a plethora of like companies saying like, wow, we finally have a female reviewer in this space. So it has been that kind of forced me to level up and get the YouTube channel. And now I just can't keep up with all these companies reaching out to me that wants to send me things to review as a female. And especially with my educational background, they want me to add that into my review. So it's been a very exciting experience over the last like 4 to 5 weeks.
So without getting into details, I'm extremely excited about some of the opportunities you told me you're getting that you have coming up this summer. And I'm very, very, well, heck, I'm older than you. I can say this. I'm very, very proud of you. I was about to say I sound like an old man, but yeah, I am very proud of you. I think you're doing a great thing. And And you know, Naomi and I appreciate what you do for our channel, because like you said, it's like you look and it's a bunch of like what we used to call in college a bunch of hard ankles, no women. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, man. Women, because the thing is, women use this stuff, but whenever typically you see women review a product, they don't deep dive into it like you do.
Yeah.
You know, it's always like, oh, this is nice, and then they show them using it with like, you know, a 10-pound weight or whatever, and you're like, what is this thing? So I love how you approach it, and I love how you cover it. And Eric Eccles, Eric's the one that you coached 2 years ago to a PR, I believe. So there you go.
We worked on his bench. He wasn't feeling yeah. We worked on his yeah.
I was like I was 10 feet away and he got a PR when you were coaching him in the bench. So I remember that. I was there. I saw it. Michael said, need more females in the space. It's a huge market. Heck, definitely.
Yes.
Excellent point. Now I got some starred comments that are questions specifically for you, and then we'll go back to the questions I sent you. Okay. So Joyce, who is Michael's better half, wants to know, what was your favorite piece of new equipment that you tried at HomeGymCon? And I'm going to answer for you, Ashley. I think it was this.
Yo, BAMFHammer.
You don't know what kind of footage I got. All right? This is it right here. I was standing there. I was like, okay. And of course, he gives you like the biggest mallet he could find. I'm like, oh, you know. But then you already had.
Keep watching. I'm like, can you give me a lighter one, because this gets heavy to hold.
Yeah, I can see. Look where your piece like, yeah. Look, I am strong, but can we start with like a little bit of a lighter one? He's like, no, you can handle it. You're good. All right. So seriously, what was your favorite piece of new equipment that you tried at HomeGymCon?
I don't think I have an overall favorite piece. I mean, of course, I left with some pieces that I was privileged enough to like acquire and bring home. I would say I like the innovative pieces that I saw there. I after kind of reflecting over the last month, I really like the longy bar. So that's probably my favorite piece right now. Then runner up after that would probably be the U-clips attachment, just because they're very innovative, and there are people thinking outside of the box, which I am fascinated at people, you know, they're coming up with these ideas of like, hey, how can we make things more versatile in this home space? So number one would be the longy bar by Darko Lifts. Like that, the more I play with it, the more I fall in love with it, because there's so many things I can do with it, and it's so versatile, and it can fit so many people for so many exercises and so many variations.
Okay, so similar to that question, what was the coolest thing you saw at HomeGymCon? Maybe not necessarily your favorite, but you were like, keeping in mind that you went home with literally a truck bed full of equipment. What was the coolest thing you saw? You just like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, I don't necessarily need it, but that's kind of cool.
The piece that stands out in my mind for that question would be the ATX leg extension. How they have the pads that go right underneath the legs, underneath the knees. They're a triangle and not round, right? I've never thought of that or questioned us having a round roller for underneath our knees for leg extensions, or having that, like flipping it over and having it flat to do lying leg curls. That was the coolest thing, because I've never thought to question something so simple, but for me, it made a huge difference. Like that triangle just fits right nice and below this this little knee pocket, and it allowed for just a beautifully smooth movement. And that was the first piece that I purchased at HomeGymCon.
Nice. All right, so this is not on the list of questions that I asked you. Did you hear the action figure question?
No, I was.
Okay.
No, I had this on, but I wasn't in the room with it.
Okay, so let me go ahead and I will I'll pull it up. So this was on Threads, and I don't know if you saw it, because Ashley and I follow each other on Threads because we're cool people and play cousins at the same time. But it's so this popped up in my Threads feed, right? And it was, if you were sold as an action figure, what 2 accessories would you come with? And so I said, a dog and a weight set, right? So I want to know from you. And the reason I brought this up is because Michael gave the best answer today so far. He said a female action figure named Joyce. Smart man, Michael. Well done. All right. So Ashley, what would be your accessory? What would you come with as an accessory if you were an action figure?
A set of wings and a horse.
Okay. Would like we talking like pop-up wings or like a hang glider or just
Yeah, like pop-up wings, like a jetpack, so I can fly.
oh, like Scarlet from G.I. Joe. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right, nice. Then Eric says, as someone who finally hit 1,000 subs after 2 years, I feel your pain. Just keep grinding and people will come. That's the thing too. It's crazy because like you have no idea what's going to just catch fire with people. Sometimes you'll be like, why are so many people watching this?
Yes.
You're like, why is this the thing, right? Not like in a putting them down way, but because you're trying to feel like, I'm like, hey, if this is what you like, I want to give you more of what you like, but I don't know if this is like you like this style of thing, or was it just like in the moment, like what like my shirt that I was wearing? You know, I'm like, I had my most popular video to this day is me and this other guy just dropping a barbell onto some safety stands. It's got like over 5 million views, and I'm like, I don't know why you like that so much. It's not very interesting, but thank you. You know, what's his Ashton from Freedom Fitness? He said his situation was like that too. It's like something where it was just dropping, and he got like he's got 230,000 subs now because he got like 30 million views off of this video of stuff just dropping, and he can't figure out what. Well, then if you try to replicate it, well, I'll make more videos like that, and then nobody watches it. You're like,
yeah,
okay, I'm confused here. I'm very confused. I don't know what to do. Bless you. So that being said, let's stay on the HomeGymCon thing. What's something that you didn't get to do that you wish you were able to do?
Visit more booths. I didn't have enough time to get to all the booths that I wanted to, even though we had 2 days just with the interaction at each booth and then the interaction with people. I needed more time.
So that actually goes to, and Jake is going to be on later on to talk about, he's got a HomeGymCon update. So hopefully you'll be between clients when we get the update, because he'll be coming on at 9 o'clock. But that's something that I brought up to him, and I want to see what your take on this is. What do you think about the idea of going back to 3 days like we had during the first year, but the first day is like just people who are content creators, like we're coming specifically to that content, and then any brands that want to make sure that they get exposure, they come on that. So let's say it's Thursday, they come on Thursday, and if they can't stay until Saturday, okay, you know, so let's say they're there, they say, okay, well, you can only do Thursday and Friday. Okay, they're still going to be there for most people, because you have brands that came Friday and didn't come back Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, there are brands that they were there Friday, they didn't come back Saturday. So I'm like, well, see if they could come Thursday. And I think a large part of why some of the brands left is because people didn't have time to get to them. So what do you think about that? Because that would be more like what it was when you and I first went, when in Eric's first, like in year one, where we had time. Remember they had like that workout session Thursday morning, and we were just hanging out with brands and talking. So what do you think about that?
So my first initial question would be like, well, how would you vet who was a content creator or not? Let's say you have to buy tickets or like content creator pass. How would Jake sift through, like, you know, if somebody's just like, oh, I just want to have early access. I mean, how do they justify their content creators? I do like how he did the early access last year, so that maybe open it at 2 hours early. I feel like 3 days is a lot for vendors. I mean, even at the end of 2 days, the vendors, you know, come late afternoon on Saturday, they packed up and were heading out. So I would love to have a little extra time for content creators. I don't know how you would work that so that it would just be content creators, or, you know, maybe even like a sign up sheet so you could have like appointments with vendors. That is not a question that I would know much about. I don't know how to handle that.
So I don't present problems without solutions. So and this is based upon what happens at the Arnold. So at the Arnold, you apply for a media pass. Okay. and they make you send, I mean, it's not very complicated. You send them a link to your publication or your site. And so they
Okay.
then verify that you're not just, what you call Two Cool Cats 89 on Instagram. They're like, like you legitimately do this, right? And then after they vetted you, then they send you, well, there's a list of do's and don'ts. I'm not suggesting that we get that extravagant. For example, at the Arnold, because they have a contract with a live streaming company, you're only allowed, you can't stream any videos that are longer than 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
Everything has to be short. And then they also do a thing with the Wi-Fi. So you are, you have to pay for the Wi-Fi from them, or else you're not going to get good signal. And that's another way that they limit how much people stream. All right. But anyway, so basically you get a media pass. And then what they do is they tell all the brands, they send the media, like a list of everyone with a media pass, they send it to the brands. And then you can get in there about 2 hours early every day, and you make the appointment with the brands too. The problem I have with just doing appointments during the course of the normal thing is a couple of people mentioned that this was in the HomeGymCon Discord. This guy said he was at a booth and a content creator showed up and he was asking a question. So he's just a customer, potential customer. He said a content creator shows up and wants to do hey, can I film your booth? And the person who ran the booth immediately got rid of the customer and said, oh yeah, sure. And he said, hey, wait a second, and went and attended to the content creator. So I don't want to put us on a pedestal. At the same time, I want to give brands an opportunity to get their stuff out there. So I'm just like, if you separate us, and this was not my idea originally, Gunner, I forgot what his name is, Gunner something from, in fact, look it up right here. Gunner 9704 from the HomeGymCon Discord was the first person who originally said this. And when I first brought it up, I didn't remember seeing it from him. So shout out to him. But he brought it up, and he's not a content creator. He was just like, hey, why not just have this, right? So I was like, all right. So that would be how that's part of how you would do it. Matthew Porter says he likes that idea. Matthew drove 17 hours. So he is a brand. Technically, he's a brand. So yeah, he was there the whole time. How long was your drive, Ashley?
11 hours.
11 hours. That is a long way to go with a truck bed full of stuff. So like, what y'all do when you stopped? I mean, did you just like take turns? Who's going to go in? Because I mean, literally, y'all look like, yeah. What's the thing? Y'all look like tinkerers going down the road with all this stuff. Do you have a picture? I wish you had a picture. Post a picture on your Instagram so people can see what the back of your truck looked like. There's just stuff all in this truck.
Yeah.
So when y'all got to a gas station, you just like take turns going inside to pee, or what did you do?
No, we just parked it in the back and went to the restroom. Like we travel with all our own food and stuff, so we just would sit at a rest stop and eat our food with the truck, and then the restroom breaks at the rest areas. It was within visibility, and it was no worries. It was.
I guess nobody's gonna steal a bench. That's kind of a big item to take.
Yeah, especially the Get RX bench should be left with. That thing's 115 pounds. Like no one's just gonna like walk away with that.
I mean, crackheads will steal anything, but even they need time to dismantle it. Okay, that's true.
But yeah, it was all strapped down too.
Let's see here. So Michael V said his drive was 15 and a half hours.
Woo!
Yeah. So let's see here. Okay. So Carp has a good point. He said when it was smaller, probably 2 or 3 days was enough, but now it's so big, 2 days is almost not enough. And it's going to grow again when we go to Louisville, because now the people say, I don't want to go to a French Lick. Now they don't have that excuse. So I anticipate a lot of people will be there. Jake mentioned that potentially Sorinex is going to be there, because a lot of the brands that were going to be there, like Sorinex, they had a death in the family or something like that. And so they couldn't come. So it's going to be bigger. So we had to figure out something. All right. How do your clients feel? Because you got home, y'all took all this stuff apart, and not took it apart, but you assembled it. Then you had to like get rid of the stuff, like make room for it. So I got several questions related to that. First one is, how long did it take to get everything unpacked and set up in your home, in your garage?
Oh, about 2 days. We unpacked it that night when we got home, and then the next day, I've been doing this a very long time. Like I grew up with my dad having a basement gym And I've had a
shout out to your dad, by the way. I saw like the video where you showed him. I was like, look at this old stud. Look at him.
Wait till you see. I'm gonna edit the video in the next couple of weeks. Wait till you see like the innovative stuff that he has built and created. I mean, like,
that dude is unstoppable. I was like,
he
shout out
is.
to you. I like that guy. All right,
Yeah,
well, go ahead. I'm
he's
sorry, I cut you off.
amazing. So it was not that hard. Like I already had this vision of where I wanted everything to go, and it all fit. So it wasn't that hard. Maybe like 2 days because we had other responsibilities like work and stuff. So we worked around our time. But yeah, I knew everything where it was gonna go. I had the vision, and we just made it happen.
All right, and then follow up with that. Your clients come in and they get to play with all the new toys. So what do they think of everything? And is their reaction because and what I mean by this is, you know how like when you and Naomi did that review of the RitFit hip thrust bench, you guys were talking about how it's not necessarily adaptive to everybody's torso size, right? Torso length. And you even said that on one of the leg press hack squat combos. You're like, this is great if you were shorter, but it's not so good if you're a taller person. So what was the reaction from your clients to the new stuff that you brought in?
Oh, they were very excited because they're not into this home gym stuff as much as I am. So they're just overall like, hey, I don't want to buy a home gym myself. I just want to work out and get the health benefits. So for that, so for them to kind of play around with these new things that they didn't even know existed was, it's exciting for them, right? It kind of makes it not so, I don't know. It's like if you go to a commercial gym and they have new equipment, it makes it exciting because everybody's like, oh, new equipment. So they always enjoy being able to try new things. And it gives me an opportunity to get their perspective, right? Because I've been doing this a long time. I'm very critical and biomechanical when I use equipment. And they look at it as just a piece to see what it does. So getting their feedback too helps me understand what's good about the equipment and what could be improved on just based on how they like it. And they're all different shapes and sizes. So it gives me a wide variety of feedback and thoughts so that when I look at things, I can make suggestions on, hey, this is great, or this could be improved.
Speaking of improvements, we got another question. This one comes from Carp. And he said the treadmill got 4th place in the HomeGymCon new items voting. I guess so like basically it was the 4th ranked cool thing to kind of put it a different way. What are your thoughts about I kind of know this already, but what are your thoughts about the treadmill?
Did you see the video I posted yesterday on here on YouTube?
I have not watched that yet.
I'm gonna post it on Instagram.
I saw it, but I watched it on YouTube. I put it so I got a video, I got the review of the rack to do, and then after that I'm gonna walk on the treadmill. And your video, I have a playlist of people's videos that I watch when I'm on the treadmill, and that's how I give you guys like kind of try to support the brands that I like, whatever. So your treadmill video is on my list, in my watch list for the treadmill today. So, but go ahead, you can spoil it.
It's formatted for Instagram, so I am going to post that on Instagram either later today or tomorrow. But it took me a while to make that video. Number one, I'm not great at editing, so I'm learning. But I've been watching their videos on their Instagram using it. I analyzed Coop using it because he posted a video, and that's the one that I use a lot of his content to break down the treadmill and give feedback. And then based on the 5 minutes or so that I used it, I broke down my video and said, like, overall, I think it's a great piece. The concept is amazing. It's going to give people the opportunity to do events that are usually outdoors, such as sled pushing and farmer's carry, walking indoors. But there are a lot of mechanical things and alignment things that definitely need to be improved upon. And I break it down in the video. I was rushed when I didn't want the video to be so long. So in my Instagram one, or if you watch it here on YouTube, I speak very fast and I touch on little things quickly, but I do screenshots and pictures of like Coop using it, and I highlight angles and foot placement and hand placement that people might not necessarily realize. But since I have more of a biomechanical background, I bring that to light and say like, hey, I fully support Bells of Steel. I like where you're going, and here's just my kinesiology feedback on how it could be improved. Like, for example, when you watch Coop's video, he raves about it, and as he should, but there are things about like the farmer's carry. It is at a very wide angle, which if you're doing the farmer's carry, it's about keeping it close to your body for core stability. Like you shouldn't be walking side to side. You should be trying to maintain that stable upright position. His foot comes off the back of the belt. So when he's walking, half of his foot comes off the tread belt, which I feel like he should have mentioned, because if you're a taller person with a longer gait, that's going to be a safety issue. And then I also bring to light that just because it can do many things doesn't mean you should force it in your body, because he tries the Meadows row, and I put a side by side in my video review about how that doesn't work for him. Even though he's saying you can do it, when he does it, he's doing the exercise completely wrong, which if he adds too much weight or anything, it's going to lead potential to possibly an injury, or like something that's just not going to feel right, maybe in his shoulders or in his spine. So just because it can do a million things doesn't mean it's going to fit those million things for every single person. So if you have the opportunity to look at that video, and then I hope they make the adjustments and then realize that those are options, but it doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to transfer to you. And to when you buy it, like you're buying it for the incline, which I wish they mentioned what incline it goes up to. They didn't mention that. You're buying it for the farmer's carry and the sled abilities. Those are the main functions. So it should do those things really well. And then the other things are just kind of, I would say, luxuries, like the lever arms, being able to do all those exercises, the split squat. He uses it for the split squat, and it works for him to a point. But if you don't have really good ankle mobility, or you're having some knee pain, it's not going to be the exercise for you, just based on those lever arms and the mechanics. Just like his RDL, the weight is behind him, which I actually had to enlist a friend at Mason. She's a PhD candidate to kind of help me analyze the movement pattern, because Coop talks about it being the RDL. But since the weight is behind him, it is a second class lever and not a third class lever, which means you're going to be able to lift more, and you can't really classify it as a true RDL. So it's just a variation of a hip hinge movement. So those things I just kind of want to bring to light for people purchasing it, and for Bells of Steel to be able to market it or even improve upon it.
I think that's really comprehensive, and I love that, because I'm trying to think. I don't know who I was talking to, but it's basically like, actually it was you. When I said we were having a text back and forth, when I said, it's good when you have stuff like this happen, because you've got people in-house and they're obviously testing it, but you know how like you can be too close to a project,
Yeah.
and then you become blind to the flaws. So you get it takes an eye from outside to come in and like, oh, well, that's not right. You're like, oh, wait, hold up. Yeah, there you go. So, so I think that's I think that's comprehensive. And I also think, based upon what I know about Kayvon, I can see him looking at it and saying, you know what, we need to redesign this, because it's based off of like a cool idea. Maybe the implementation can be tweaked though, and then maybe hopefully version 2 is better. I mean, nothing's perfect. We live in a flawed world, so yeah.
And any equipment that's in home gym, like they come out with version 1 and then they come out with version 2, right? There's always updates. Like
that's what's going on with Rep Fitness right now.
Yeah. I reached out to Bells of Steel before I posted it, just to be like, hey, listen, because I took like 2.5 pages of notes. I was drawing pictures just so I could organize my thoughts and make sure that I speak to it in a professional and evidence-based kind of kinesiology manner. Like for the sled push, if you watch my video or anybody else, it's so low that your chest is parallel to the ground, which is not optimal position for power for a sled push, right? You need to have a more maybe a 45 or so degree torso angle, because spinal mechanics matter in the sled push. So, and I let them know, like, hey, listen, I'm going to let them know that I was going to be giving them some constructive feedback, just to know that I'm there's no negativity. Like, I support Kayvon. I love Bells of Steel. The company has a phenomenal reputation, but I want to be able to provide valuable insight, like you said, that instead of that up close view that they might have, just I have a more bigger, wider view that I can share some things that may or may not be useful for them.
Yeah, because it's not that we're just like, oh, this sucks, we're done, move on. It's like, no, this is why I don't like it. And every video where somebody talks about something that's not good, they always give feedback, like, this is why I don't like it. this is what's needs to be improved with it. You know, even if you think it needs to just be scrapped and you start over, we still are giving suggestions. So I think that that's any company that cares about their name, reputation, and customers in whatever order that needs to be. I think is going to take videos like that and say, okay, you know what? Like she just gave, like basically, I remember when I said they ought to pay us for being what you call it, beta testers, because it's like literally I'm saving you potentially a lawsuit, because you like with the thing where Coop's foot is coming off the back, and I haven't seen this video, I don't watch his stuff, so but I'm just like his foot's coming off the back. Well, what if somebody fell?
Exactly. Like, but
and you got stuff in your hand, that's not safe. So now
how did he not? I don't understand, like, how he was like, oh, this is fine. Like, no, that's not fine. That is a lawsuit. That's a safety hazard.
Well, my mother said if you can't say something nice, don't say anything. So I can't answer that question. Let's move on. Let's talk about we've been talking about your YouTube. I am curious about how is the content on your YouTube channel going to be different from what you have on Instagram? Because on Instagram, you already have subscriptions, and I assume that people get to see workout stuff there. You've got the channel. Oh, okay. That makes sense right there. All right. Because I know that you had the thing where it's like you had the channel where people can get form checks from you on Instagram. So YouTube is going to be you actually doing workouts. All right. Well, that answers.
Yeah, that's the direction I want to go. Is like, hey, work out with me. 20 minutes of cable workout, or 20 minutes if all you have is a bench and a barbell. Do this. Like, I just kind of want to give people. They buy this equipment, and a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do. So I want to give them more guidance.
Gotcha. And Joyce has something, I don't want to leave it out. She says the equipment is usually geared for people who are at least 5'5".
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Ashley's 5'10". So like when she gets on stuff, because I thought about it too, like that's actually why when you do reviews with my wife, she's 5'6", I on purpose wanted to pair you guys together because you're on two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
In terms of height, she's got a shorter torso, your legs are longer. So I mean, it's just like, that way we get have the biggest potential for getting a good review for as many people as possible, right?
Yes.
And then I tend to not say anything because I'm a dude. And so if it's I'm just saying, like, what business do I have say, oh yeah, this would be great for women? I'm like, how would I know? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see when something would be horrible, but I can't tell you when something is good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. This is just a little side question. You get weird questions on Instagram. People have proposed to you and everything. So what is the weirdest question you've gotten on Instagram recently? I'm just curious.
Other than like the proposals and the professions of love, I get a lot.
That's still going on?
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, yeah, I got it like that.
Not surprisingly, I get a lot of feet questions. And most recently, someone asked if I could do a video on my neck veins. So I think that was pretty weird.
What? Wait, a video? They want to see your neck? They want you to talk about your neck veins?
Yeah.
That right there is.
Woo! Nah, that's a mic drop.
That's what that was. I'm like, what?
Nothing to say there.
Like, so what'd you say?
Oh, I don't respond to those.
Well, I mean, okay, let me ask you, how in-depth was the question? Did they say, hey, can you do a video about your neck veins? Or were they like,
hey, that was it. Like, hey, I love your neck veins. Can you post a video on your neck veins?
Okay. All right, then. In the chat, if you have a neck vein question, now's your chance to ask Ashley. I mentioned that you're doing form checks and answering people's questions. How's that going?
It's going. I've actually I had someone message me this morning, and then there's a couple people that were like, hey, I don't want you to put my video up there, but can you just give me feedback? So it's at least opened the door for people if they want some tips or cues on their form. I just figured I'd leave that there because I want people to know that I'm here to help. So you have lots of ways to get a hold of me, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so for me, This is just me. Haven't given this any thought up until this moment. So if somebody sends a question and says, hey, can you check my form in the squat? Then I'm going to say, okay, well, I can probably assess if you send it and it's from the side. I can assess your tightness, your ankle mobility. Also, that's not an invitation for you to send me videos to assess your anything. I'm not doing form checks, but I'm just saying, like, these are the things that I could see myself being able to check. But if you're like certain, like, okay, you know, assess my, I don't know, overhead press or something. I'm trying to think of like an exercise. It would be weird for me to assess. You know, the most I could say is, okay, you look like your core is relaxing, or you got too much rib flare or whatever. Like, what would be an exercise that would be tough for you to assess? Maybe like sit-ups or something, crunches. Because I'm like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like some exercises, this is way back in the 20th century when I was a personal trainer. Some exercises I have to be able to touch you to be able to tell if you're engaged, you know, like if you're working the right muscle. Like something like yeah, ab work.
I can't think of any. I am very like I'm the kind of person that when I'm walking around, let's say we're at HomeGymCon and I'm walking through the crowd, I can't unsee things. So I'm so used to watching movement patterns that if you're walking in front of me, I'm gonna be looking at your gait. So I'm gonna see how your feet land, and then I work my way up and be like, okay, his knees and his hips, and then I ask myself, okay, what is causing this, and how is this affecting the rest of him? So
So basically, we just found out that Ashley's been walking around HomeGymCon judging us, judging how we walk. Excellent. Well, there you go. That's why y'all come to this show, to find out stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not
every
the best,
time you come near me, I'm sitting down.
But I can look at someone's movement patterns and
Right.
at least immediately give them 2 to 3 things where I'm like, oh, I can see what's happening here. Do this, fix this, relax this, put this down, retract this, and then, you know, send them on their way. And like, I'm not going to completely break everything apart. I'm just going to give them, you know, 2 to 3 things to work on. Even if they have a million things, it's just going to be a little bit at a time.
Gotcha. So Carp said that's why your channel will take off and be successful. Great info and insight, referring to what you said about the treadmill. So
thank you.
Nice job. Tom wants to know, Tommy, what are the most common issues you're seeing with people's form?
Their feet. Lack of paying attention to your feet, because everything is built from the ground up. So people don't pay attention to how their foot is placed, or if they roll in, if they roll out, if they don't even like do a full gait, like a full like heel to toe push off. Even when they're lifting, like people are so more concerned with other things, like they're benching or they're overhead pressing. They're not thinking about the foot contact, which is so important because that builds everything. And then, right, if you have bad contact with your feet, it's going to lead to ankle, to knees, to hips, all up to spine, which is going to affect your shoulders. So I tell people, like, hey, if you want to start paying attention to things, pay attention to your feet. If you're doing leg extensions, right, if your leg is extended, like, pay attention if your feet are rolled in, rolled out, pointed forward, pointed back. When you're stretching your hamstring, same thing. Like, make sure your feet are straight and up. Like, some people do the hamstring stretch and their feet are like rolled in. It's like, well, your body's very tight, so clearly it's pulling one way. So do your best to keep those aligned. So if I have one piece of advice that you guys want to take away today, is build from the ground up. So pay attention. Or if you're doing any kind of push up, or your hands are on the ground, pay attention to your hand placement, your wrist placement. Like, but yes, feet. Like, that's the biggest one. That's today's lesson, is pay attention to your feet and how they land and where you're shifting your weight and your contact with the ground. That's why a lot of the times you see me training barefoot or in my socks, which is why I get all the feet requests on my messages. But that contact position is so important for me to feel the ground, feel like I'm active through my feet. I'm pushing that big toe mound down. I'm not placing all the weight in the outsides or the insides. Like, I'm sucking up through the arches. Like, am I active in my feet?
Right. One thing I see is too, though, you have people who, like, they're naturally, let's say, what do you call it, duck-footed, and then they try to have their feet forward, and they haven't prepared their bodies to do that. So then they're like, okay, well, I'm going to squat with my feet straight forward, and then they end up, well,
compensating somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, it's like you have to, yeah, like you said, start with your feet and prepare your body to do the thing. In fact, one of the things I did, so this past week was deload week for me, right? And one of the things that I love to do during deload week, I used to hate deload week. I used to hate it because this is boring. But now it's not boring because deload week is when I assess other things. One of the things I assess is how well I can move with the least amount of preparation, right? Like, how much preparation does it take for me to be able to get into a deep squat? Like, to be able to just, what they call Asian squat or whatever. What do I need to do? Like, and over time, is that improving? Can I get into a deep squat without having to do, anything? Or do I need to foam roll for like, 30 minutes and bust out this and rub the liniment on that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do I need to stretch to be able to get into a deep? That's what I'm saying. Is like things like that. Because if you think about it, you can bench press no problem because your body you've got the range of motion to just do that. But we don't have the range of motion because of how we sit in the West to just drop into a deep squat without even thinking about it. So that's just one of the things I check. And ankles get all locked up because of the shoe thing, and especially if you wear boots a lot and that kind of thing. So I think that's a Carp said veins gains for your throat vein, your neck veins thing. And he said that, and he went into a meeting. So we can't even talk back to him. He's gonna catch us on the replay again. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is like I see people who haven't prepared themselves to train. And if you haven't prepared yourself to train, you're not really preparing yourself to perform in the real world. Because when something happens, you're going to fall to the level of your preparation. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start doing the compensations and things like that. That's just what I think. Let's see. There was another one. I thought I missed it. All right. So what do you have coming up that we can look forward to this summer?
Oh man, I have a busy summer. So but nobody else knows. I'm going on a trip next week. And if you follow my Instagram, you'll find out. But a vendor from HomeGymCon invited myself and Dustin to come on out to their research and development lab for a couple days. So I'm headed out there to go play with them and do some content and build a connection.
Nice. And so for you guys, I told her I needed so she's going to go, and I told her she's got to come back and give us a full report next month. I want to hear all the stuff that they let you say, because there may be some things they show you where they're like, hey, you have to embargo this, which basically means, for anybody in the chat, basically it means I'm showing you this thing, but you can't reveal it until such and such date. And if you break that, well, that's the last time that you're going to find out about the brand new stuff ahead of time. So there's that. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I think it's exciting too. So anyway, Ashley, I know you got like 15 minutes before your client gets there. So only thing I got to ask you is, are you, you're not leaving till next week, right?
Yeah, I leave on Wednesday.
Okay, perfect. All right. I hope you still got room in there for a Garage Gym Life banner. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. I can
We'll figure out something. Okay. All right, good. Next. Excellent. Thank you so much for all your support. If you guys have any other questions, now's your chance to drop it. Otherwise, I'm going to let Ashley go so she can get ready for her next client. Thank you for being here. Ashley's going to be with us once a month, right? Once a month, she's going to be here answering questions and letting you guys know what's going on. Go check out her YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and put the banner right there. It is Ashley the Amazing on YouTube. And also, of course, Ashley ___ the ___ amazing _ 332 on Instagram. All right. So you guys make sure you guys check her out. Thanks for being here, Ashley.
Thank you for having me, John. It was a pleasure as always.
Oh, heck yeah. Come on. I can't wait to have you back. All right. Peace out. So Dustin, I said, what's up? All right. All right. So that was the homie, Ashley the Amazing. We've got, in about 14 minutes, I got my guy, Jaisyn Mike, and he's going to be coming up. He's going to be talking about wrist wraps. And that is something that you guys need to definitely check out if you do any kind of pressing, whether it's bench pressing or overhead pressing with a kettlebell, pressing a log. you need to be here for this wrist wrap conversation because Jaisyn is going to break it all down in ways that you guys are not expecting. Start asking if you have to. I know that some of you guys, you got to go do whatever. So if you have any questions about wrist wraps, put them in the chat and I will ask those questions. I'll ask Jaisyn those questions as well. But he's a good dude. I use his wrist wraps every time I bench press. And I can tell you that I am now bench pressing. I'm stronger in the bench press than I've ever been in my life. And I don't feel any issues from my wrists or elbows because of the support I'm getting from his wrist wraps. So I can definitely tell you guys, I've used several different brands of wrist wraps over the years, especially when I was competing in powerlifting. And these wrist wraps from Jaisyn, they beat every other wrist wrap brand I've ever used completely, hands down. It's not even close. It's not even close. And that makes sense because Jaisyn, you guys, if you did follow him on Instagram, he was actually pushing for a while there to bench press 700 pounds raw. So that's not with a bench shirt. That's just bench pressing with nothing but wrist wraps on. Okay, that was the only assistance gear that he had. And he benched 600 pounds every day for like 40 days or something crazy like that because he was trying to get to 700 pounds raw. And the dude, he's also he was IPF. He had an IPF total record in his age class for quite some time. I don't know if that record still stands, but if I can think of anybody who will be the person to design a good wrist wrap, it's somebody who is a strength athlete of that caliber. He's got, so Jaisyn's got like Leroy the Machine Walker's phone number, right? Like he knows these dudes, okay? And so these are the people that are helping him develop the products. He's a high-level athlete. Like I said, he'll be coming on in about 10 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk all about wrist wraps. So you guys drop any questions you might have in there, and then the guest after that at 9 o'clock, I will have we're gonna have Jake from gonna give us a HomeGymCon 2025 update. I really have no idea what this update is gonna be about because I told him not to tell me. I said, just tell me on the show. So I'm excited to hear what this is. Hopefully I'm not building it up too much, but yeah, I cannot wait. But I'm telling you, you guys, and in fact, my man J Mike is backstage, so I'll be bringing him on in about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and let's finish up the thing. I wanted to tell you guys this thing too, something that happened. This actually, ironically, has to do with something that happened a little while ago, right? This happened to me maybe 3 weeks ago, and I just want to get you guys' feedback on it. Dustin Payne, hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up? Thank you, I appreciate it, man. So I want you guys to check this out. So here's what happened, and I'll even get Jaisyn's feedback on this, right? But this happened to me a few weeks ago. So there you go.
Yeah, it was just Jade. It was just Jade with the same market throw. Now you were seeing him next to Smith. You're seeing him next to Riola. What are you seeing right now? Seeing Jade go like that and passing the thing right there to the camera.
Okay, so now it doesn't want to play
It was just
because the browser's acting up. Will it play?
It was just Jade with the same market throw. Now you were seeing him next to Smith. You're seeing him next to Riola. What are you seeing right now? Seeing Jade go like that and passing the thing right there to the camera.
Back to the recliner rage for me.
It's the recliner of rage.
It's the recliner of rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Dang technology, man. Every day. Well, not every day. Normally this stuff doesn't. All right, so I'll just tell you guys what happened. So basically what happened is I was benching, and I was supposed to be doing triples that day. And what ended up happening is I was benching and I had monolift arms on the rack I was using at the time. the bar hits the monolift arms. So I end up only getting 2 instead of a triple. So obviously I'm supposed to be getting 3, right? So I set the weight down, and instead of sitting there crying about it, I just set the weight down on the safeties, climbed up on the bench, deadlifted it back up into the monolift attachment, got off, adjusted the bench over so I had enough clearance, which I should have verified before I even started the set. And then I counted to 30, lay back down, and went through my setup all over again and just did a single, right? So basically it was, instead of a triple, it was a set of 2, rest, pause, and then actually I did a double. My bad. I did a double. So I actually end up with 4 reps instead of 3. Instead of 3 straight, I end up with 2 reps, rest, 2 reps, right? And to me, that's something that you can do. It's just a little gem for y'all. If you end up in that sort of situation, I wouldn't necessarily plan for it because you don't want to train yourself to fail all the time. But it's something that you want to do so you kind of salvage the set, if that makes sense to you guys. You want to make sure that you are, because it's like how much time and attention, how much time under the bar that you have. And that is a really good way to just say, hey, look, I still got it, because that's going to impact, for me, my work, my training builds on itself. So today's training session is going to build on last week's training session, right? And I don't want to go into today's training session with the lack of confidence, especially, like I said, I'm benching more than I've ever benched before, right? So a lot of that is just a lot of benching and squatting to a certain extent. It's just believing you can do it. And so that's one thing I did, is like, okay, I showed, hey, I can still do this. And then that proved out, because the next week it was time for me to just go get a heavy single. And I had no issues with it. Went in there, dropped down, no fear, like boom, got it, no problem, right? So that's exactly like Michael. That's what I'm exactly saying. You're making lemonade out of lemons. Too often, I think especially when you train by yourself, you don't have a team around you to pick you back up. You got to be your cheerleader. You got to be your coach. So you got to have a clear eye and be like, hey, the reason why you failed on this thing is because you screwed up your positioning. You did this or that. Maybe, again, since we're talking about the bench press, maybe your arch, you sagged, and so your arch actually went away a little bit as you're doing the rep. So now you just increased the distance the bar had to travel, and that's why you failed the rep, because you changed stuff. You weren't stable and set up. And you gotta have a clear eye when you go back and you watch your video to know, hey, this is why, this is why that happened. But you also got to be your own cheerleader, because there are times when you're gonna get down on yourself and you won't want to, you'll be like, oh, this sucks, and then you start flinging junk left and right, and you want to, oh, I'm leaving. You leave the gym, you have a temper tantrum, and that's not productive, right? Because, I'll say this, in my experience in competing in multiple sports, something always goes wrong. In fact, I think it's good when training isn't perfect. It doesn't need to be horrible, because then that's going to screw with your confidence too. But when your training isn't perfect, that teaches you the resilience to overcome the bad thing that happens, because something bad is always going to happen. I still remember I was at a meet, and the 2 people ahead of me, the guy got injured. And well, it's my turn. I got to go squat. I can't let what just happened to him be in my head. I got to go squat. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to kind of bounce back. And I thought that was the whole point of me showing you guys that video that ended up not playing. It was just to show you guys that you don't have to let the thing beat you. Because I see that too often. I'll see people's videos on Instagram in a home gym setting. They're like, oh, this just wasn't there. I was on the struggle bus. Like, stop. You got more than enough people in your daily life who are giving you negative talk. Don't add yourself to the list of your haters. Don't add yourself to the list of your haters. What's wrong with you? You need to be your biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's that. So that motivational moment was brought to you by an old guy. All right. So now let's go ahead and move into our next segment. First of all, we're going to say good morning to the Central Time Zone and the Mountain Time Zone. So if you guys are here for the first time, thank you for being here. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. Your boy's got the 33,000 right now, but I need help from each and every one of you to do it. So if you've already subscribed, share this video with somebody else who you think might enjoy it, might enjoy having some good content that's interesting to go with them as they get their day started. I'll ride with you. You do not have to watch. You can listen to the show and still enjoy it. And if you have to leave and come back, I got nothing but love for the replay gang. So this is for you. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, 99 cents a month, you click that join button, you can support the channel, and that will go a long way to make me sponsored by you, not sponsored by anybody else. I want to be sponsored by you guys so that I'm effectively working for you, making the content you want to see, not the content some other brand thinks is a good idea for me to have up here on the channel. And that's all there is to that. All right, that's enough of that. Now, it is time for us to hear that? Hi, my man Jay. Behold. You weren't ready for that.
No, I wasn't. You got me with that one.
I was not ready. No. All right, so Jaisyn Mike, multiple world record holder, and this ain't like some what you call this is like the Greater North Dakota record. Nah, this is like all-time world records. All right, for you to find, there was a period of time where if you wanted to find somebody stronger than Jaisyn Mike on the bench, you'd have to go into space.
Yeah,
because he was the strong. And look at his face. It's like, yeah, hang on, I'm gonna let y'all see this. I'm gonna say it again. Look at his face. He was so strong that for you to find somebody stronger, you'd have to go to Mars and look, because he was the strongest dude on Earth. He's still one of the strongest dudes I know. So it's performed in the animal cage, if you guys are familiar with what that is. And what I really admire about you, man, isn't the dunking and all the other stuff you did. It's the fact that you are not just resting on your laurels, but you're taking what you know and you're using it to make strength sports better for us. So I appreciate that. I showed up in uniform.
There you go, man. That's a nice shirt, man. Like every time when I see it, I'll be like, man, I was pretty smart. I came up with that. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Yeah. It's so crazy because first of all, it got my attention because let me sit right here for y'all to see it again. So right there, I love it, of course, because it's my colors, it's my brand colors, right? Yeah. So that's what got my attention first. And then I was like, oh yeah, cool. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear that. I was like, let me buy it because I wanted to support you. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just wear this. Will just be my bench shirt. So this is actually the first time I've worn this shirt on a day when I'm not benching. Because normally I only, how like lifters get like superstitious and stuff, right? So I normally only wear this shirt if I'm on bench that day. Right?
Ah, got you.
I got a host of like these little idiosyncrasies I got, man. So we'll talk about those.
I gotta get you the other one though. I did one. I made them for when I was getting ready for the IPF Worlds. I was supposed to do Worlds, I believe, in 2000. No, all right. So we got kicked out the IPF. I was supposed to go to Bench Worlds, but we got kicked out the IPF. So I made a special limited edition. It's a white. I bench periodically, but it Stars and Stripes has a USA patch on it. I'm gonna get you send y'all one of those. I think I still have a couple of them around here, but that was like, to me, that was like one of the nicest looking shirts that I made. When people see the shirt, it makes people smile. The first thing, like when someone sees that shirt, and most of my shirts is kind of more like, oh, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So like the latest stuff is the Girls Love Power. That stuff has been doing really well, and it's a lot of women who see it and go, you must be talking about me. Or dudes will come up and be like, yeah, you're right, girls do love power. Or if I was as strong as you, they would love me too. So it worked kind of unisex. So I got that whole little thing going right now too.
Nice. So the thing is, you guys need to go ahead and check out his store, athletikovereverything.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen right now. I'll leave that up for a little bit. But the thing is, like, it's funny how like so many people see it and they think like I made the shirt. They're like, oh man, that's cool. They're like, I've had people say, man, I looked on your website, I didn't see the shirt. I'm like, because it's not my shirt. And then I tell them, to go check out your website. I'm like, yeah, man, I have no problem. And I will also say to people, I'm not wearing a shirt because I'm sponsored by Jaisyn. Okay, I'm definitely not sponsored by Jaisyn. Even with these wrist wraps, like I said, and he can verify, I've bought them for several people. Like, these are the best wrist wraps I've ever used in my life. So I'll buy them for somebody. In fact, I got Matthew Porter. Matthew was here a little bit ago. Matthew, these are the wrist wraps I'm going to be sending you. I told you about. I'm going to send you some of them. And I'm telling you, when you get them, you're not going to be disappointed. So you're about to hear about why they're so great, though, ahead of time. And even more than that, Carlos, Carlos, you and Jaisyn are in the same city. So if you would get a chance, this dude right here, let me show you one more time. This dude right here can fix your bench. If anything's wrong with it, he can fix your bench. I know you said that you're like 2'3" in tall, but he probably still get you dunking. All right. So
hey, it depends how old you are, man. How old you are.
Well, he old. Okay, so let's get your hopes down. He's the youngest dude. He like our age. Okay, so
yeah.
But we'll do the best you can. He get you.
Yeah. I'll get you right.
Jump up on the picnic table.
Yeah,
I don't know if you dunk, but he'll get you to jump up on the picnic table at least one time.
Yeah, you'll get better for sure.
3'2¼ I apologize. Yes.
Yeah, that sucks though.
All right, so I don't want to take too long. Let's talk about. Let's jump into these questions I sent you. So, starting from the top, I've already talked about how much I love mine, but tell everybody who's watching who may not be familiar with your brand what makes you. And I hope you got some with you. But what makes your wrist wraps?
Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and start. I know the first question y'all need to ask is, why are his wrist wraps different from everybody else's? Well, that's what I'm going to ask him when he gets back. Okay, why are his wrist wraps different? I'm also going to get him to show you guys the proper way to wrap your wrists in order to get the most support for a PR attempt on the bench press, stuff like that. Yeah, Matthew, I'm telling you, man, these wrist wraps are. So the ones that I liked before I had these were the ones from Elite FTS. But these are like leaps and bounds better than them. I haven't tried any other wraps since I got these, but every wrist wrap, I tried SBDs before these. I tried a bunch of different ones, and these, they blow them out the water. So let's start from the top. So like I said, what makes your wrist wraps different from all the other brands that are out there on the market?
Okay, well, one of the biggest issues or some of the improvements that I always thought about, like as a bencher, especially as a person, you don't have to be an elite bencher to get the feeling of how your wrist should feel. And I started having issues with the wrist wraps I was using where they would come undone while the wrap was on your wrist. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but you put the wrap on, and while the wrap is on your wrist, as the wrap is on your wrist, when you start to bench, it kind of shuffles inside of itself. And I was talking to one of the companies that
it starts to get loose while you're benching.
And I started trying to figure out why that was happening with a particular company that I was kind of sponsored by at the time. And I was telling them, like, listen, I'm having issues with my wraps. And it's like, my bench press, I don't play with. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm sponsored by you and my wrist wrap's not working, I have to get a new wrist wrap, which means I probably won't be sponsored by you anymore. But I was having this issue. And what I started realizing, and what I found out later is that a lot of these wrist wraps have the dye changes the consistency or the texture of the wrist wrap. So you'll find some wrist wraps are kind of slick, or you'll feel that they'll be a little slippery. And when I talked to the manufacturer who made my wraps, I was telling him my problems with that. And he said, the first thing he says the dye. And I was like, what you mean? He said the dye is causing the wrap to be slick, or the material. So sometimes,
so if you get a set of wrist wraps and they're blue. The thing that makes them blue is causing them to be slick. Or
also that plus the materials, but the combination itself. And he said the only way he said the rawest form of the wrap is going to be the dye free or the one that doesn't have anything in it. So it's like almost like sanding down something or a primer almost. And he was saying the white color rich wrap is going to give you the purest feel of what the wrap is, especially depending on the elasticity of the material used. Like I said, the other part that makes my rich wraps different is that I spent probably $5,000 over the course of 6 years doing R&D, making sure I got the right wrist wrap. I was trying to find the correct manufacturer. I was having wrist wraps made in all different colors, all different lengths, trying to get the reaction of the wrist wrap. And if you notice, or I did the wraps in 3 different lengths, and I didn't do it in 3 different lengths because I wanted to. The manufacturer just told me, he said, listen, most people, like when he sells wraps, he says, I sell 24-inch wraps the most. On the mass scale, most people don't even know why they're wearing wrist wraps. And 2, they don't like taking the extra time out to wrap their wrists. So he said, you'll be missing out on a large component of people if you don't do a 18-inch wrap and a 24-inch wrap. But I was telling him, I said, when he sent me the samples, I was like, man, we can cut out a rotation if we make them 36 inches instead of 40 inches, because 40 inches is what makes a wrist wrap. With the wrap as well as the Velcro combined has to be under, I think it's either 39 or 40 inches total. And with me making such a large purchase, I was messing with the wraps when they came in, and I was like, I don't even want to take a chance on going to 30. I said, let's make them 36 inches. And what I found is that, one, you're able to wrap your wrist faster with the 36-inch wrap, but the elasticity in this particular wrap was so perfect, I didn't need that extra rotation. So when I found this particular manufacturer, I was like, this is the one. And I went through, I had another sample that came in later, and I spent over $1,000 on the next sample come in. And I was like, nah, these are the ones. So they actually made my wraps. I actually had them made in different colors. Now, I had them in gray made. You guys probably never seen it. Most people have never seen these. I had them in the Slimers, you know what I'm saying? And they came out and they look great. To be honest with you, if I would have done them in another color, I would have sold much more, because a lot of people were like, oh, I don't, for my wraps, they're gonna come in a box. They're gonna come in your carrying case for the most part, and they're white. And people were concerned about, oh, they're gonna get dirty. You just said something about being superstitious. I played college baseball, and I remember guys on the team wouldn't wash their uniforms if they had a good game. And
I haven't washed my wrist wrap since I got them.
But you shouldn't.
I ain't gonna.
You shouldn't. And if you choose to do so, go ahead. But I also, with the white ones, what I did was when the manufacturer also had problems manufacturing them and keeping them clean. And he was like, hey man, I'm not even gonna lie to you. He was like, these wraps, I think they came out great, but he's like, these are a pain in the ass because they have to be so careful with them. I said, well, let's Scotch guard them. So we Scotch guarded them. So the dirt that's on them can't come off. If you hand wash them, they'll come off. It'll come clean as you could possibly think anything white would come off, but they won't be like nasty, dirty, or anything like that. And I've had people wash them, and they've been
said just
fine.
like normal dish detergent, right?
Yeah, normal dish detergent, you can hand wash them. But if you're putting in that kind of work, and if they're working for you, I have them priced. Well, the price point's a whole nother thing. But if they're working for you, don't change anything, and and just keep them going. So it's like I talked to even some of the best in the world, like Ray Williams. Ray Williams is sponsored. He can get whatever he wanted. Ray uses the same old SPD knee sleeves that he used like 6-7 years ago because they still work for him, and he's squatting 1,000 pounds in them. So why change anything? You know, so I just think that the R&D that went into this wrist wrap was just so ridiculous. Like the guy was trying to get me to spend less money on producing the wrap. And I was like, listen, man, I was like, this is my signature wrap. I want to go all out for it. So if that meant the stitching, like I got charged, if it was an upcharge for it, I got upcharged for it. So if you have, like when you get a wrap and the way they're situated, the quality of Velcro is a huge issue with wraps, because if the Velcro is skinnier or if it's bigger or the flexibility of it, that changes the price of the wrap. So I went with the high quality Velcro. I went with the Z stitching. I don't know if it's going to show up, but I went with the Z stitching all around the wrap in every place. I went with the vinyl name tags. Went double stitching on the catch Velcro. Even the thumb loops. We went with the Z patterns as well, which most companies cheap out on. And this part right here. Now the thing about that is that I recommend you cut this off, but some people actually use it to wrap their wrists. And part of the reason why I don't is because I've seen multiple people break their thumbs trying to get once they have the wrap on, trying to get the thing off. I've seen people break their thumbs in meets. I've seen it happen 3 times since I've been powerlifting. So I was like, well, if you really want to wrap your wrists and be more efficient, there's a better way to do it. You know, for me, I kind of grab it like this, and that's how I start my wrap instead of using the thumb loop. But I have videos and stuff like that on that stuff as well. But over the years is this that I also found that most companies don't care about the wrist wrap, you know. So that was kind of some of my issues, like early on getting sponsorships and stuff, because over the last 4 or 5 years, I've become primarily a bench only person, and companies, you know, they're like, look, are you going to start full power again? I'm like, to be honest with you, I really don't feel like squatting or deadlifting right now. So I was just going to concentrate on being the best bencher in the world. So all of my energy for 5 years went into developing and coming up with the best wrist wrap possible. Now, the samples that these were made off of, I bench press 600 pounds or more over 200 times in a year and a half period using the sample the sample R&D wraps. I was able to put them under stress loads of, I benched 660 pounds in them. I benched over 650 pounds 7 times in that period of time with those wraps. So I knew that if I can handle 650, 660 pounds in the wraps, you know, the average gym goer trying to get to 315 will feel and should feel more comfortable with that process. So it's like, if you're a person who lifts in the gym or lifts by yourself, and most of my lifts are done by myself, I rarely have had someone spot me or have any kind of help or anything in the gym. So your equipment needs to be on point. Like everything needs to be right. Like I don't take a session unless I think I'm going to get the lift. Like there's no YOLO in my programming. So if you see me doing 600 pounds with my legs up in the air, that means my training dictates that I should be able to do that. It's not, well, I think I could do it. No, my training has to be spot on in order for me to feel confident enough to perform. So that's one of the things you mentioned earlier. It's like you want to make sure you want to get in the groove of everything you have going on, being secure so you can get those lifts and be confident. But you should never get on the bar. And I tell my clients, if I put it down on the paper for you to bench, I believe in your training says you should be able to do that number. I don't do the YOLO because I'm in here by myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like you have to be ready to perform and make sure you have the equipment to help you do that as well.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, and I see your question, Jared. I appreciate you being here. I know don't even sweat it. Like you said, he rests on Fridays, so you you do the replay gang. You missed Ashley's thing and then like some cool stuff in the beginning, but I appreciate you being here. My guy Kurt is a strongman competitor, so I actually was thinking about guys like that for your wrist reps as well, because that goes back to Jared's question when he says, what different movements do you use the wrist wraps for? And before you answer, Jaisyn, I'll say that I've used them for deadlifting. So I injured my hand and I used the wrist wraps to make my grip, to improve my grip so I could hold onto the bar. Then I've also used them for bottoms up kettlebell pressing, because when I first started doing that, kettlebell was doing like that. All that junk was all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And you know the kettlebell's got to be straight up and down in the air. So I said, okay, I watched this. So I put the wrist straps on, and again, it helped me with my grip, and I was able to, and my wrist stability. So I was able to do, I don't need them for that now, but it got me through that. And then of course, benching, and then anytime I go with any kind of, like Kurt says, anything overhead, I tend to use wrist wraps on those as well. But Jaisyn, what's your answer? Like, what do you program the wrist wraps for? And then also, what have you seen your customers use your wrist wraps
Okay. Well, for the most part, I've used the wrist wraps for, deadlifting, shoulder presses, things of that nature. You can use it in strongman as well. Like I said, they're flexible. They're stiff, but they're flexible. They're not soft. They're not hard. They're right in between. Just to be 100% transparent, I used to use the SBD, the Flex SBD, and I used them for years. I've broken world records in them. I liked the wrap, but it was just a couple of things that I didn't like in terms of some of the material stuff and the inconsistency in the stretch. But the sturdiness of the wrap, I kind of wanted to make it a little bit more sturdier than the SBD and have a more consistent flex. So that's kind of what I did with it. So you should feel comfortable and confident doing any movement that you do. Now, don't put the wrist wrap on and think you're going to bench 600 pounds. That ain't going to happen. Don't try that one.
That's what's on the list for me today.
Yeah, don't do
I
that.
got my shirt on too.
There you go. But what I will say is that I'm sad that it happened, is that, I wound up cutting 3 of my fingers basically off and had to have them reconnected. And my rehab and my recovery, I started realizing the importance of the wrist wrap, because being able to close my hand is something that I'm currently working on doing. My hand is wrapped now. My fingers move and everything, but I don't have the articulation back yet. And part of that is that the muscles in my forearms, like all that stuff runs from your forearm into your fingers. They got cut off. So everything got disconnected. So when I had surgery, they reconnected it. But what they're saying is that if you have the wrist wraps on, it actually helps close your hand. And some of my training, I hook up a stem machine or a Mark Pro and get the muscles in here firing. It'll actually almost close your hand for you. So when I talked to my therapist, she was saying, like, you can get some wrist wraps and, and that'll help, because I was saying I want to get back to powerlifting. And she was like, hey, you might want to wrap your wrist, it'll help. And I was like, I have
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I have a signature pair of wrist wraps that I can use for it. I wish I didn't need them, but that's part of my recovery now. So I wear a wrist wrap now for basically anything. So I have to use a circular saw again to get over my fear. But if I do, I will make sure that I'm stable and sturdy. But the wraps itself are great for all those things. And like I said, you can use and one of the bigger issues is that the application of the wrap is wrong. 95% of the people you see lifting weights put their wrist wraps on incorrectly. And that goes for high level lifters. This goes for world record holders. They're basically wearing bracelets. They're not even putting the wrist wrap on correctly. And if you're not putting the wrist wrap on correctly, you're already down in the game. There are certain rules in certain federations, and most people don't know this, but you have to, the wrist wrap can only go up to a certain part on the back of your hand and a certain part in the front of your hand. Now, some federations like I lift in the USAPL, the Powerlifting America, IPF, they're a lot more strict on that particular rule. But if you're able to manipulate the wrap enough, what it'll do is that some people, you'll see guys when they bench, they're never in this position. What most guys do when they get into bench position, their wrist is like this. So when they bring the weight down, they're almost in a negative position. But with the wrist wrap, if the wrap is properly,
so the weight goes into their fingers instead of being,
it goes like this,
straight down. Yeah.
So I've always made this comparison. It's like, so if you were fighting, and I know that there are people who can, hit you with a little chuck,
the palm, yeah,
and, knock you out and all that stuff. But I'm more rather, if I'm fighting someone, I want to hit them with my knuckles. I want to hit you square. I don't want to hit you like this. So when you're benching, I always think about punching, and I try to get my punch and my knuckles to hit across the ceiling. And have a wrist wrap, I don't care how enough weight on your in your hands, you go back a little bit, no matter how tightly your wrap is, but it's going to go back. But what I've learned is that if you're able to keep a vertical plane, when you bring that weight down and that weight does cock back, it actually shoots forward. So you can get a little spring out of your wrap when it sets, because it's set down, and when you come up to press, the wrap has a reaction. And it's small, but we're talking about trying to hit the best numbers you can possibly hit. So any and everything matters. So that's why your setup is important, the way you wrap the wrist, how long your wrists are wrapped. I've seen my guy James Key, matter of fact. I was at an event, this may have been three or 4 years ago. He had on his wrist wraps the entire day. He a different type dude, but he just had his wrist wraps on, like just wrapped. I'm sitting up there like
his fingers
benching.
not numb.
I'm like, what the hell?
Not go numb.
Going on? But it's one of those things where if you wear your wrist wraps a certain way, it kind of don't. They're just wearing the wrist wrap around their wrists, and it has no effect either way. You see what I'm saying? Right. So if you have the wrist wrap effectively enough, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's like if you wrap your knees.
Yeah, at some point you got to take. There's a bunch of stories about me getting my knees wrapped. I couldn't do it. I tried. I didn't make it a minute.
Your knees, you're gonna have to take them suckers off because your toes are going down.
So
I can't wear your wrist wraps and keep them on.
Yeah, so if you could do all this with your wrist wrap, your wrist is wrapped wrong. You should not. Your wrist should be. It should be more. You should see the flex in it. It should be some resistance. Restriction. But that's all a part of the setup. So I have videos on how to properly wrap your wrist, and which I just went back and looked. I shot a video, uploaded the video. The video went bad. I thought I uploaded it to YouTube with my new wraps, but I'm gonna make for sure. I'm gonna make the video on how to properly wrap your wrist with my wraps this weekend for sure. But it's a small things that help.
So we got several questions I want to address. All right, because they're in here, and I don't know if that was me or you, because y'all already see my technical difficulties. So some of what you started to get broken up. But as long as you guys can hear Jaisyn, it's good, because I just call him on the phone and ask him all this stuff again. But I want to make sure that you guys are hearing him just fine. So the first thing is, so Jared is a strong dude. He said he hasn't actually even worn wrist wraps for years. So he said, thankfully my wrists are okay, but he's not half as strong as you, Jaisyn. So the thing for me is, I don't wear and this goes into the next question, I don't wear the wrist wraps for every set, because again, like if you put them on, like you were saying, if you put them on correctly, it's dang uncomfortable. And I mean, for me, training is about preparing myself for what I might face, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, there's a difference between preparing to bench press the most I can on the platform, which for me is what my top 3 sets is, and just training for just life, right? So
gotcha.
For my sets up to my top 3 sets, I probably won't wear wrist wraps. But when I get to where it's starting to get, well, I'm like, okay, we're getting closer to the point where I need to get everything I can out of it. Then the wrist wraps come on, right? And that's what I use them for there. So his other question is, wanted to know if I wear wrist wraps when I'm pressing with my axle bar. So I have a 45-pound, 2-inch axle bar. It's 45 pounds and it's got knurling on it, just like it's the same markings as IPF markings. All right. And so I use that for thick bar training, basically, just as to give my elbows a break on my second pressing day. And so the answer is it's the same thing when I'm benching with any other bar. I keep the wrist wraps off until I get to a certain percentage or a certain number, and then which corresponds to how many reps I'm doing, and then I put the wrist wraps on. So that's pretty much how I do that. Hold
on, can I say one thing with that to answer that?
Yeah.
I'm
that's
against
why I was
that.
coming anyway.
Right.
Go ahead.
I put my wrist wraps on when I'm benching the bar. I wear my belt. I have my bench shoes on. And I have a kid that, he's been competing. If people follow my page or whatever, you'll see him. He just did sub junior nationals or whatever. And I got to get on him about he'll come to the gym with it's called Crocs on or whatever. And I'm like, what's that? You're not going to be on the platform with that? And he'll be like, well, it's just my warm up. I'm like, no, it's everything. Everything needs to be the same. One band, one sound. So every set, every wrap, you'll see me. If I have the bar, I'm putting wrist wraps on. I have my belt on. And people are like looking at me because a lot of people wonder when someone benches over 600 pounds or even 500 pounds, how big do they start with? Like people think, do you start with 315? I could, but I start with the bar. Now, I don't do a 25-pound plate. I do 55. Personally, like, if I'm right, I'm doing a red, and a red, and then I start whatever. But I take the time.
So hold on, you have to tell them what that is, all right? Because you're saying a red and a red. He's talking about kilo.
Okay,
plates,
a red
right?
is kilo plates, 25 kg plates, 55-pound plates. So I jump by reds. Now I haven't benched in 6 months right now because of injury and all that stuff, and I'm probably gonna start bench. I was supposed to start on the 1st, but May 1st, but I held it off. But I believe in every rep should be done like you're on the platform. So if that's the case and if that's the mindset, your wrist wraps need to be set. You can't not have your wraps on and like, oh, this isn't that serious. I'll just wait until I get to the important stuff or the heavy stuff. I want my brain to know how it feels like, because one of the other biggest issues is that when I work with people, I want you to tell me what you did wrong before I tell you. Because when you become one with your stroke, you know what happened. You start making these things because you're so in tune with it. But I try not to have no reps that aren't in tune. So if you see me bench, like I've done 600 pounds and it looks just like my 500 pounds. But there are also times where I have 600 pounds against. I've done 4 reps. So in the third 600 rep looked better than my first, and it's like, wait, how people? It's the technique that. So that's how it works.
All right, so some of that broke up, but did you guys hear Jason's whole put it in the chat, because I can't tell if it's me or if it's Jason, because I was having some technical issues. So did you guys hear Jason's entire answer, or do you need him to repeat that? Just go ahead and somebody put in the chat and let me know. Kurt says I do. I'm assuming you're saying whether or not Kurt's a strongman competitor, so I'm assuming you're saying, Kurt, that you use wrist wraps on when you're doing the log. Oh, okay, yeah. So y'all having a storm right now, Jason. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
I got on here. I'm here I had a leak. I was in here trying to stop a leak. That's why I got up.
You know, like the little Dutch boy putting your finger in the. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
All right. So you said it broke up, but so the gist of what you said, just to put it in a nutshell, You believe that you should wear your wrist wraps. Hang on a second here, fix that. You believe that you should wear the wrist wraps from the first warm-up set. So
Yes.
Okay, I'm coachable. I can learn. I'll do it.
Man, but like I said, I've had people tell me like they'll buy a pair of wrist wraps and they'll be like, "Hey, give me the 24-inch," and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "I don't have time to be sitting up there wrapping my wrists and all that." I'm like, "You don't have time to secure yourself for benching? Like you're talking an extra 5-6 seconds." Like, but people think like it takes too long, so that's why they use the 18-inch wrap or the 24. But I'm like, man, give me the most security. Also, being able to mold the wrap, that's also so important because the wrap is too stiff. You can't manipulate the wrap around your wrist. So I've seen, man, these are the stiffest wrist wraps. Like the old school powerlifters, when I came in, people were using these crazy stiff wraps, and they would crank them down so hard that you can only have them on for 10-15 seconds before you were losing feeling. So I've never been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of more of a flexible wrap, something more that you can mold and make it your own thing. Because after a while, like I said, I wear my wrist wraps upside down to where the thumb loops, if I have them on, but you can cut them off. But I can tell what wrap I have on because it molds almost to how I wrap over a period of time. So it's just it's one of those things. Like I said, being superstitious, it's just like having everything. My mouthpiece. If I don't have my mouthpiece, I'm not benching. Now you can have whatever mouthpiece you want to use. I forgot the one I use. They're not sponsoring me anyway, but so whatever one I use, that mouthpiece, if I don't have it, I'm like, all right, I'll just wait till I get home. Like, so I might be going somewhere like that. We have a gym here called Alpha Land. Alpha Land is like a ridiculous gym. They got all kinds of stuff going on. And some of my friends come in from Dallas and they'll meet. And I got there and everybody was like, hey, so what's benching? They're like, nothing. They said, why? I was like, I don't have my mouthpiece. And they're like, hi. And I was like, no, I don't have my mouthpiece. I'm not benching. But that's because that makes me feel comfortable.
Everything has to be the same. Yeah, I got you.
Everything has to be the same. So that's just how it is for me.
All right. So we talked about how some people are going to say, well, I'm not benching as much as you, so I don't need wrist wraps, right? So we already talked about that. Like you can still get, basically you still get a benefit out of using them. Okay. But the same people who say they don't need that wrist support might also say, well, if these wrist wraps are so great, why haven't I heard of your company? So I want you to talk about that and go ahead and talk about the shadow banning that happened to you on Instagram too. And we'll just pray that the weather holds out.
Yeah. So pretty much what happened with my page or whatever, probably 5-6 years ago, I did a huge video with Johnny Candido. It has like 100,000 views or whatever. But during this time, you know, my videos would get between 10,000 to 100,000 views. I was dunking, you know, benching a bunch of weight, squatting. I'm doing all this stuff on my page, all this stuff. And I would always get these high view counts. I had my followers were going up. And then out of nowhere, everything just kind of slowed down. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, damn, you know, I just benched 600 pounds and I got 200 views. And I just did a 360 dunk and I'm 300 pounds and I'm 40 some years old. Like, why am I like, what's happening to my page? And you start seeing over a period of time, like you start losing engagement. Well, Instagram started like sending me messages saying, hey, you should pay for promotion. And I started getting more and more of these kind of messages. I'm sitting up there, clothing company, all stuff happened. And I learned from other creators is that you start trying to mobilize your
hang on, Jaisyn, you breaking up again. The weather getting you.
Damn.
Okay, good. Go ahead, go now. So you start hearing from other creators that when you start to make money off Instagram, they get you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And they started saying like, hey, Instagram is doing that to me too. And this was a girl who's like dime piece. She's like, she was getting like hundreds of thousands of views. her stuff went down to 2,000, getting 100. She started trying to sell. They were. So I'm gonna pay for pro, and I'm getting 10,000 views when I make a video. That's myself, but they people type of thing on it, and realizing that I was. If you guys look now, the video I posted, I benched 607 pounds with my legs up in the air. And the first time I dropped that video, I got 180 views, like in 6 days for that video. And I had like 18,000 followers or something like that at the time. And I'm sitting up there like trying to figure out like, wait, what's going on my page? That's also how I got hurt, because I kept trying to, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna do this. And I was in the zone where I was lifting all this weight. And I thought the more I would post, I would get myself out of being, but I didn't. I just ran myself into the ground. And recently, I just re-uploaded the video. The video has 100,000 views on it. It's being shared. It's being replayed. People are saving it. It has thousands of saves, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is what shadow band is, because if that's the case, this video should have been popped. It's not like what I'm doing. If you show this to a power lifter or someone who lifts weight, even if you don't like me, you're going to be like, I want to see what's going to happen with this lift. And people did not watch the video. And I actually did more. I did 612 pounds as well. Now that video didn't do as well either. So I just got put in a situation where I was putting out these videos and no one will watch them. And I wasn't getting no videos. I wasn't getting any engagement. And I'm like, I'm shadow banned. So when I came up with the concept of the wraps, I was like, shadow ban. And that's how I came up with it. So the shadow ban ones. So that's pretty much how the wrist wrap and the name and stuff came along. It just came along from the fact of I wasn't getting any engagement, and I could tell that it felt, because they were sending me correspondence saying, hey, you should pay for us to show your stuff. And I've seen other times where they'll do that. And like this last one that blew up, they said, do you want to promote it? I should actually put some money behind it, since it does have a little flow to it, but I don't want them to start thinking they could charge me again. You know what I'm saying? So tough situation.
So let's go with this, all right? Because I know that there are people who, like right now, I would say that the Pioneer wrist wraps are the ones that are the hot ones. They're the flavor of the month in the home gym community. Everybody, because people like Pioneer as a company. In the home gym,
they're good people.
And so the Pioneers are the ones that most people like. I think some people like I don't know, A7. I think they've got wrist straps, but I think some people like them. Tough Stuff, I know people like, because your boy Leroy Walker, he's sponsored by them. He got
he's no longer with them.
He's no longer with them. Okay, all right. So I told you, Jason knows all these people, right? Julius Maddox, all right. Who's a good dude? I got to meet him at a charity event one day. Anyway, my point is, what people need to understand is, one of the things I do with this channel is I tell you guys about brands that are basically mom and pop shops, because you got to look at it like these big companies. And when I say big company, I know Pioneer is a family-owned business. I got nothing against them, but they've got the budget for all this. If y'all want to see what Jaisyn's staff is, you're looking at it, unless he talks his wife into helping him or his son. Okay, you're looking at the staff. Y'all want me to make it big again? Here we go. This is Jaisyn's staff right there. All right. So the thing, when he's making like, hey, I'll make you a t-shirt. This bag right here, which is, I would say, my favorite bag in terms of meat backpacks. He makes the bag himself. And so you guys are dealing with a true grassroots operation. So if you guys, everybody always says, oh, I love supporting American. I'm like, the stuff is made in Houston. Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty American.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that's the number one thing. So as a result, you're not looking at somebody who's got the advertising budget that some of these companies have. That's why when I use now if I'll just be honest, I like you, but if your stuff was garbage, I wouldn't be like pushing it, right? I would just say, it'd be like when your cousin has t-shirts he's selling at the swap meet, and you might buy one just to kind of like help him out, but you're not really wearing it, you know? Yeah. But I do believe in the value of the stuff. So every time I've actually given these things out as prizes, as giveaways, and I always pay for it because I believe in your company. And so that's one of the things I say, like, to anybody who's like, well, how come I never heard of this brand? Because really it's just a word of mouth situation. And I will also say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you got some of the strongest lifters in the world wearing your wrist wraps.
100%. Juwan Garrison is a world record. He's the best 83 in the world. He's the best 90 in the world. And he bought his wrist wraps. Like I didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
He wears them, and he's bench. He's like under 200 pounds. He's bench. I think he just benched 518 in them. He is ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Like he is like pretty amazing. He likes the wraps. He's wearing them, and all these you know, you can, and also the wraps are federation wise, they're standard for every federation, but I haven't paid to be on any federations list, but they are USAPL certified or verified from the president himself, so you can wear them in any USAPL meet. That was also why I stayed in the USAPL, because I was like, I get to wear my own wrist wraps, but that's a whole other thing. But most federations, they'll let you wear them because they'll pass, like when they look at the wrist
we do your gear check.
They'll do your gear check. They'll pass any of that. But it's just one of those things, man. But when you're creating this stuff or you're making this stuff, I use the best equipment. Like what I said, I cut no corners on anything. So with my clothing, with my backpacks, I try to make them the best possible for the price, but not only the price, I make them the best I possibly can. Like I've talked to manufacturers, and they're telling me like, hey, the hoodie that you use to make your hoodies, you're not charging enough for them, because the cost that I'm paying for them, I cannot get the proper return on them, because they're like, hey, if you're going to buy these hoodies, you have to sell them for $100. But I'm like, I can't sell them for $100 for the market that I'm in, because everybody else is using a $10 hoodie and they're selling them for $60. Whereas I'm using a $30 hoodie or a $35 hoodie and trying to get $65 for them. They're just like, you need to make a decision on what you rather have. For me, I choose quality. Even the new shirts that I use, these heavier, oversized street style shirts that I'm using, these shirts cost 4 times as much as a regular shirt. And the shirt that you have right now is a Bella Canvas shirt. That's the top.
That's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah,
so most
Bella Canvas is
they
good
go,
stuff.
They buy the $2 shirts. Those shirts are $5-6 a piece, or whatever the case may be. Or I'm using a rubber on the logos and stuff like that. I try to make it an experience or make it a piece. I want it to be something special. So when you get your wrist wraps, after you finish with them, like you said, you put yours back in your box, and
after every set.
That's what I try to make. I try to make an experience. I try to, like, even my backpacks, I'll customize it for you. I got embroidery machines. I taught myself how to embroider so that you can have a customizable piece. If you go to a meet, no one can just take your bag, because one is going to have your name on it, you know, or whatever else you want on it. But I just wanted to make it was quality. But I did learn in strength sports and powerlifting mostly, people don't want individualization. People want what you have. So if they're buying something because they seen Russ Swole squat 700 pounds, they're not thinking, oh, they're like, no, I want the same Jordans that you have on. I want the same color. They don't want to have their name on the back of their jersey. They rather have whatever they're motivated by on the back of their jersey. And that was something that I had to make a turn in the company, because originally it was about customization. Like, hey, you can buy that shirt on, I'll put your name on the back of it for free. And I started telling people, start saying, no, I want that. And I was like, dang, so people really don't like the customization part on it. So I moved away from the customization part and more just into what it is, you know. And I got like the stuff that I'm doing, like I got, you know, coming up is going to be more. It is what it is. It's taking away the customization side of it so much.
All right, well, let's hold on a second here. All right, so let's pause it. Not pause like Diddy. I mean pause like,
yeah, no Diddy.
Hang on
a
second. Yeah, no Diddy ever. Ever. So that leads me to HomeGymCon. I don't even know if you know what HomeGymCon is. But if you don't,
on it, I'm not familiar.
Okay. So for those of you who are watching, I'm going to give a commercial for HomeGymCon right now because my primary goal was to get you guys, and I hate that the weather, I apologize for everybody watching and listening. The weather's giving us, you know, again, you see like it seems like things are against us. We're trying to help out a small business here. But hey, do me a favor, go to athletikovereverything.com. Just go to athletikovereverything.com and you'll be able to see all the stuff that we're talking about. Don't let this stop us, all right? But let me back up. So HomeGymCon is not a trade show. It's a convention where all people who are home gym owners get together once a year for 2 days, and we look at equipment that, you know, you can possibly outfit your home gym with. We hang out with each other. They have a strongman competition that my guy Kurt, who's here in the chat, Kurt runs this competition. For typically this first year is when people who are new to the sport of strongman. We also have a deadlift party that happens. There was supposed to be a powerlifting meet that ended up not happening, but this is a thing where you get multiple people who train, let's say not primarily in their home gym, come to this event from all around the country, and we all hang out for a couple of days. And you see, so Rogue Fitness is there, Rep Fitness is there, Bells of Steel, every home gym brand, every company that makes equipment for home gyms is there. And you get to just walk up and down. You see just rows, just equipment everywhere. What you don't see a lot of is stuff like what you make. So Barbell Voodoo was there this past year, and Belt Fed Strength. Those were you guys let me know if I'm wrong. If you guys can think of any other brand that was primarily like a belts or t-shirt or apparel brand that was there that I didn't mention. But as far as I know, it was just Barbell Voodoo and Belt Fed Strength. And what I think Echoes is going to win the grip comp. I believe in you, Eric. So what I think would be good is if you were at HomeGymCon, you were a vendor there, had your booth, and you had your backpacks. Because I use that pack for traveling. I could literally put my daughter in that bag. All right. Yeah, and it's made out of the same material. For those of you guys who are watching, his bags are made out of roughly the same material that JB makes his sandbags from Freedom Strength. Is roughly the same material. So these bags are strong. They're not going to rip. And it's one of those things where, like, if you guys see this stuff in person, if he's there with with the wrist wraps and the bags and stuff, I know you guys are not going to be you're not going to be disappointed. I think it'd be an excellent venue to go to. In fact, the guy who is the creator of HomeGymCon, he's going to be coming up after you. And so if you got time, when the interview's over, I know you'll be like you won't be on anymore, but just keep the thing on and you can always jump in the chat and ask any questions you want. But I think it would 100% be worth your time.
Where
this coming year is going to be in Louisville. In Louisville, Kentucky, and it's going to be.
Hey, it might be.
Say that again. What'd you say?
I said it might be something that I'll look into.
Yeah. So
I said it might be something I'll look into.
It'll be at the end of June in Louisville.
No, that's pretty close. Okay.
No, end of June next year. End of June next year, 2025.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. We already had this year. We already had this year. So June
okay.
2025, end of June 2025 And I'm telling you, man, I think that it'd be great because there's not anybody else there who does what you do. And I think people would love to have the ability to customize their backpacks, because you got people who compete, they'll be able to customize their backpack. But even if they don't compete, if all they want is just stuff to have, that's like, I can just see it. We can talk a little offline, and I'll connect you with Jake, and you can see if it makes sense, makes business sense for you.
Yeah.
So Jared says he's trying.
What I found is that most people.
Go ahead.
Oh, what I said, that most people, like when they see my stuff in hand, they go, "Oh, this is quality." Like, because, so it's like they're more surprised, or like even you said, like I wasn't charging enough for that gym bag. I know 100%. I know I wasn't. I wasn't enough, but even my manufacturer, like, "Hey, if you're gonna do this bag, it should be over $100." I'm like, I want what goes out. I want it what went out from me to the world to be quality, and then from there I can make the adjustment in terms of pricing and stuff like that. But like with the shirts, I remember everyone was saying like, "Hey, they got the you can get a t-shirt for $2." I bought the $2 shirts, and I'm like, this feels like crap. I didn't like how it felt. So then I was like, well, I'll just buy this shirt. And I said, well, I don't really like that shirt. I wound up spending thousands of dollars because when I first started, I bought all the wrong stuff, but I wasn't happy with the quality. So I scrapped it. Right. So I lost thousands and thousands of dollars because the quality wasn't where I wanted it. Well, now I've kind of switched again to more of the heavier style shirts. This is it's more streetwear type stuff, but I still have the other stuff, but these shirts are more expensive, but they're more pieces. So like if you see a bench hub or a shirt like that, those are specialty shirts. You should almost treat that like a shirt you'll dry clean, in a sense. Like, this is my bench shirt,
Oh, that's what it is. Like, I literally don't wear it unless I'm benching. When this is over, I'm cleaning it, putting it, folding up, and putting it in the in my dresser until it's time to bench again.
Yeah, that's cool. But I got to get you the other one though. But that's all it's about. I wanted to make I wanted to make it not just a regular thing. Like, so if you look at like some of the bigger companies like SPD, the shirt they make is ridiculous, but you're also going to pay $40 for the shirt. That shirt is a great shirt, but not too many companies put in that type of effort that they do. I try to match that type of level, like with the stuff I'm making. I want right. Like if you're charging like even the wrist wraps, I was selling them for $40. I sold those for $40 a piece. Today, since I came on here today, the wrist wraps are $20. I dropped down to $20 for today or through the weekend, and just for people to get into them. So if you get into them and you're like, okay, cool, I like them, buy 2 pair. If they get dirty, you'll have another pair for you only paid $20, so it's 2 for 1. So I did that for this weekend, so that people can get them in their hand, because I am working on getting doing another round of wrist wraps that I should have done the first time, but I was kind of scared I would get sued, so I didn't drop the ones that I was originally going to drop. But those are going to be they're going to be spectacular. So but I dropped the price down to $20 on them for today. They're normally $40, so this gives you opportunity to get them in hand, see what you think of them. And I hadn't had any complaints. I just put the link
for you guys to get them. I just put it in the chat, by the way. And for anybody who's watching on replay, the link to get these is going to be the top comment. I will post it. And the link is also going to be in the description for the video. So you can't say you can't find the link, but you said that's going to be, so that'll be $20 until, if you're watching on replay, today's Friday, obviously, because it's way too early for Friday. And this is going to, the discounted rate is going to be good until Monday.
Yes. And so there are people who are watching. I have 10 pair of lockjaw collars. If you spend over $50, you get a free pair of lockjaw collars with your order. The lockjaw collars cost $50. So I don't know what to tell you. If you want wrist, if you can't lose this. Yeah. You'll get
Oh yeah, I mean those lockjaws are my favorite collars too. For Matthew Porter and I've been talking about that. So I got one more question. I want you to address this question before I let you go. Will the new run? Jared wants to know if your new run of wrist wraps will function differently or if they're just going to be aesthetically different?
It'll probably just be aesthetically different. I'm working on trying to figure out the difference in the color style, if it's going to play, because there has been an issue with people just for on a financial side of it. The white wrist wrap, it deterred people from the wrist wrap. It just did,
right? Because everybody wants black wrist wraps. I mean,
they want black wrist
people. Want
black and it's wraps. Like it's nothing I could do, and financially, like I go against what's financially beneficial for me all the time. But when you're spending $25,000 on wrist wraps, like, and I spent big, like, for me, this is big boy money. I could have bought a new car. I bought an embroidery machine instead, or, you know, I could have bought a Tesla for all the stuff that I put into, you know, my stuff. But I want to give, you know, I have some, like I said, I have some samples of different colors and how these feel and react. Like the gray ones, I think I would have done much better with the gray than I would have with the white. So they may be the ones that are next up, but in terms of color, but the one I have it might be white. It might be might have some white in it, but like I said, I was just so scared that I would get sued, and because these companies play smaller companies with the bag. They'll just put you in litigation and just try to break you. I don't have that kind of money to play with anybody, so I stayed clear of my old, because I had a wrist wrap that was supposed to come out with a different company years ago. I was going to redo that wrap because I found the person who produced that wrap to make these wraps. So I could have just did that wrap, but I didn't want to take any chances on getting sued. So I just moved off with it.
All right, well, man, look, you guys, like I said, I'm going to entice you to try to go get out to HomeGymCon. I got Jaisyn's number. I'm going to text him everything I can. I will connect you to Jake. Jake, I see you backstage, by the way, Jake. So even after I let you go, like I said, keep on watching the video, because I want you to be able to see, like, hear from Jake. Stay safe now. I know there's a storm, so you know, come down to it, stay safe. But just I will connect the two of you guys, because I do think that there is value for what you do, your customized backpack, the wrist wraps and everything else there. And I think, you know, anybody who's a strength athlete could use your wrist wraps. I think all it takes is for them to try it one time, like you said, and they'll love it. So before you go, I've got, going across the bottom, it's the athletikovereverything.com. Is that the main place where everybody needs to go if they want to get the wrist wraps? And then you also have a YouTube channel where, because you said you got a video coming out showing how to wrap your wrist correctly.
No hobbies, only obsessions is the YouTube channel name. Mr. Athletic Over Everything on Instagram. Like I said, I've been rehabbing and stuff, so I kind of was already, you know, I'd be procrastinating, you know. John be on me, you know, John with it, you know what I'm saying? But I've been dragging my feet. I'm not gonna lie to you, but like I said, I do everything. I got a baseball card company. I mean, you know, I'm doing all these different things, and it's like when you're stressed, mode, man. It's just a lot. But I have to buckle it down. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, you know, for having me on and stuff like that. And, you know, all the support that, you know, you've given me over the years. It's just one of those things where I have to, you know, like I said, I'm the one that's embroidering your hat. So if you order something, it may take me a couple of extra days, because I'm the one that's really like putting, you know, like embroidering with the machine and designing, you know, all that stuff. So it's kind of tough, but, you know, for, you know, the people who want some quality stuff, it may take a little time, but you'll get it. And when you get it, it'll be right.
Perfect, my man. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm telling you, go check out the website. I got the link in the chat, and hopefully we can get this dude. If we get enough support, enough people buying stuff from him, we can entice Jaisyn to come out to HomeGymCon, and as a bonus, you'll be able to walk up to him and ask him your questions to improve your bench press, even if you never plan on competing. Because, like I said, this is the dude who can get you right. Okay, so man, Jaisyn, thank you for being here. Like I said, man, stay safe with that weather. I'll see if I can't get Carlos and you to hook up too, because Carlos is out there in Houston as well.
Okay. Right, also there's coaching on the website as well. So if you go on there, I have coaching on there for bench press coaching, and it's monthly and 6 months down the line. But that stuff is on the website as well.
100%. All right, man. I appreciate you being here. Take it easy, my man.
All right, man. Thanks.
Later. All right. So you guys see that once again, like I said, shopathletikovereverything.com. This is a grassroots thing, man. This is a guy who, I mean, from the ground up, he's building this brand, and that's what we're all about. So I have no hesitation. I don't recommend everybody, but when I recommend you, you're legit. I'm just saying that, okay? So let's go now. First of all, shout out to the West Coast. Appreciate you guys joining us. This is the Way Too Early for Friday podcast. I keep calling it a podcast. It's not really a podcast. This is a morning show. This is like nothing else that you've ever seen on YouTube. We're a morning show, and our goal is to ride with you throughout as you're getting your day ready. This is something you can put on in the background and just have on, especially if you work from home, and just enjoy the conversation. We were just talking to my guy, Jaisyn Mike, Mr. Athletic Over Everything, and we started off the day with Ashley Hromyak, who given us all the details about her new YouTube channel. And now we have got our final guest, the man himself. You guys show your love for Jake Jaworski. You're supposed to like do like a Ric Flair when that plays.
You know me.
Yeah, I know. You calm down, man. I know I get excited you get about everything. It gets out of control. So let's switch gears a little bit. We were just talking to, just to catch you up. So we were talking to the guy I was just talking to is Jaisyn Mike. Hey, what's up, Joey? My man Joey. So Jaisyn has athletikovereverything.com. He basically sells wrist wraps. Sells these wrist wraps that I got here, and then he sells customizable backpacks that are fitness bags. I mean, I got one right here. Just gonna be tough for you to see it.
Yeah, I was just looking at his website.
Yeah,
it's like some cool stuff.
Like all here's is like customized, and you put your name on it. And I just think,
cool.
Yeah, and he can customize the size, everything. So anyway, I was trying to entice him into being a vendor for HomeGymCon, because that's what I do. I try to talk people into leaving their homes and traveling to hang out with other introverts. So, all right, man. So first thing I want to say is Gunner. Shout out to Gunner 9704 from the HomeGymCon Discord, because he was the first person to bring up the idea of having a separate day for content creators. I know I brought that up as an idea last week, and it's one of those things where it's like, you see it somewhere, but you don't remember where you see it, so you think it's your idea. Okay, well, I don't believe in taking credit for other people's ideas. So even if he doesn't care, and he didn't sound like he cared when I saw in the Discord, but still, I like to give credit where credit is due. So shout out to Gunner. I appreciate you watching, Gunner. Thank you very much, and thanks for talking about the show in the Home Gym Discord. So that being said, what is your response to the idea of having Thursday as a day for vendors? And then if a vendor says they don't want to stay till Saturday, we'll still get them Thursday and Friday. Or if they say, well, I can't do Thursday, I'll just come in Friday like they did this year, like just giving them an option. Because what I don't want a repeat of is what I've heard. Two people, it wasn't a lot, but two people is too many in my opinion, where they said they were at a booth talking to a brand, and a content creator came by and wanted to shoot some video. So the brand stopped talking to the potential customer to pay attention to the content creator, and we're not above anybody. So I think if we had a day where we can, knock out our obligations, and then maybe, do fill in the rest of the days, then that would be easier. Because that's, from what I remember, that's what happened last year. Not this past one, but in year one, because we had Thursday, we did a lot of that on Thursday, and then so Friday was a lot more laissez-faire. You know what I'm saying? So, what's your reaction to that idea?
Yeah, I'm kind of open to as many people getting in there Thursday as possible. I don't necessarily think we like blast it out as like a creator day. Because I think most of the companies are setting up Thursday afternoon. So based off what happened this year is like half of them get there like Thursday afternoon and just set up through the evening. So it's kind of chaotic. And then I don't necessarily think we want to make everybody be set up before a certain time, just because, you know, they're traveling from a ways away. They have, you know, hours of work to do once they get there. But I would say, like, let's bring as many people on and communicate it early, like get it in the books, or just like get it on the schedule, I should say, and shoot as much content as you possibly can. I think that's also on many of the content creators too. So I think a lot of the content creators kind of came in Thursday evening as well. So like you come in Thursday evening and you try and do some stuff, but it's kind of chaotic. So I would say, like, let's try and get as much of it on the calendar for Thursday, and maybe even sacrifice an extra day and get there an extra day early and get there Wednesday, so that you can properly prepare.
So yeah, that's what I kind of try to do. Tim and I got there Thursday, and I shot most of my Bells of Steel stuff on Thursday. Went to their booth, and I Thursday night, so they're already set up. And I mean, there were booths that still weren't finished set. Heck, there were booths that hadn't even arrived yet. But
and there's also like trash everywhere, and like, so it's like not the best.
Yeah. But I mean, look, if you can't set up a shot and frame a shot so you're not showing trash in the background, go ahead and quit now. That's kind of like think about it like in the context of like when they shoot a movie. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, so you're shooting this, but like right over there's like a trailer and there's all kind of random stuff over there. You just have to figure out how to like frame the shots. And there are ways to do it, because you can also always shoot B-roll later on the next day. But if you can actually, for me, it's like if I can get in there and I can get my interview done with the person, then shoot B-roll the next day when there's more people around, that's still a good workaround. But like you said, it comes down to being kind of just trying to be organized, because it's just, we also have to look at it realistically, that there's kind of come a point where you kind of have to just make decisions and accept the fact that, hey, if you're going to compete in a competition, you're not going to have as much time to just wander around and look at equipment, because you're competing in competition and you can't be in two places at once, because that's not how physics works. So that's one of the things like I learned at the Arnold. It's like, if I'm at this booth, I can't be at that booth too. If I decide I'm going to go do this thing, I can't be over here doing this other thing. And I guess it's a testament to the event that everybody wants to be able to do everything. But, you know, just like Disney World, again, you can't, if you're at Magic, you know, you can't do everything. You can't ride Space Mountain and go to the Star Wars Expo exhibit. So that's it.
No, I mean, honestly, like the first year we set it up was pretty cool, where we had like a 2-hour window on, was it Thursday or Friday? It was like a Friday
morning.
It was Friday afternoon. It was like 4 to 6 or something like that, just for early access.
Friday morning. You said early access on Friday morning.
Well, there was like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on the first year.
Yeah, I know, but like Friday morning, we had 2 hours before the thing opened. You said early access.
Well, so, it was only Friday evening. It was like from 4 to 6, and then Saturday was like early access, and Sunday was early access.
Oh, there was the morning workout. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, so if we did something like that on Thursday, you would need to make sure, you know, you'd need enough people there so that most people aren't just hanging out.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing though, and this kind of goes to one of my questions I have for you, is like, so many, and when I say so many, I mean too many vendors showed up with a thing, but they didn't expect you to actually want to try it.
Yeah.
So you have people who showed up and maybe they have, I don't know, a tricep handle, right? That needs a cable stack. Well, they don't have a cable stack. And I mean, well, how am I supposed to use this? You know, well, I just kind of hold it in my hand and imagine what it would feel like if there was a cable attached to it. That's not, nah. Whereas in year one, we use that 2-hour window to actually go in and work out. So you're working out, trying the stuff, and you figure out, what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing. And I think that not enough vendors, I'm sure you told them, but not enough vendors, I guess, believed you when they're like, hey, people are going to want to work out with your stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily know that I told them anything. Just
well,
do what you norm. But I think that's just part of the learning curve. Like you kind of, is a lot of those were pretty much just vendors that probably weren't there the first year. One, and then like, I don't know if you're talking about like JD Gym Equipped, he had one thing where you could test out. Everything else was just for your eyes, which was like, I mean, still amazing. And I think he does pretty well. But yeah, I think that just kind of comes as the event gets more word out. And like, as you learn from year to year, like I didn't necessarily know how interactive it was going to be either. So
gotcha. Yeah, first of all, you're amazing. I think you're breaking the internet because you're hatless right now. So there's that. Hey, that's why you come here, okay? For the unexpected. But I mean, like, just okay, in perspective, and this is me just comparing year one to year two. I remember in year one trying out the rep trap bar, and I actually lifted with it, right? And I squatted over there. I went to Bells of Steel and I benched. I tried out there. That's why I actually have that bare naked powerlifting bar now, because I tried it out there. I did a bench workout. All right. Then when I went to Fringe Sport, not knocking them, but I actually ended up at Fringe Sport because I was looking for somewhere to deadlift. And I knew during the deadlift party, I was going to be doing the strongman thing for Kurt. So I was like, well, there goes that idea. So I just have to deadlift earlier. So I was like, well, let me just look around and find somewhere. So I go to Fringe Sport. And then I'm looking, I'm like, well, how come nobody's got a deadlift jack? I couldn't find a deadlift jack. And so I ended up going all the way back to Clever Build and borrowing 2 of their Genesis jacks, right? But that's what I mean, is that kind of stuff is like, look, all these companies have bars and they have plates, but they're not set up for me to actually use their bars and plates unless I want to do clean and press. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Eric wants to know why he can't just hang out. Because if you stationary for too long, Eric, we'll have a bunch of people trying to get autographs. It'll screw up the traffic flow. People trying to stop and, people want you to sweat on them or whatever. It's just not going to be good.
I think he's talking about that extra day.
Yeah.
Eric, because it's expensive to just rent out. It's many thousands of dollars.
Oh, just look in your other pocket, Jake. Everybody knows you got it. We know you got it. Good morning. Hold up a second to Rory. Yeah, it says good morning, and he says that he didn't get to try out a lot of equipment because he was competing in the throwdown. Yeah, 100%. Cerberus. I said who else was there? It's like sort of an apparel. They're not really an apparel brand, but they have apparel. So that was another brand that had apparel type stuff there. All right. Anyway, he said Bells still had a jack too, but most booths didn't. Joey said, yeah, I was just like, seriously, how could you? To me, if you have barbells and plates, you should have a barbell jack. You should have a deadlift jack somewhere, because what if somebody wants to actually use the thing? Eric is offering now. Look at this. You just raised money because now Eric's offering to give you money. Look at this.
All right.
All right. Let's go to the next thing. So you told me you had an update for me, and I think we've teased everybody long enough, including me. So what's the good news?
Man, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You said you had an update for you. Dadgummit, I will pull
an update. I saw this on the sheet. I had no idea what you meant.
You said, see, this is why I like it when people text me. All right, Jake. See, yeah, I got an update.
Oh, no, I think I was just like.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I think it was more of like, hey, do you want me to hop on and give an update? And especially after I heard you guys talking about HomeGymCon with unanswered questions. I was just like,
I think it had to do with the vendors, because it says right before it, you said you're off to a good start getting 2025 vendors. So I think it was like you were just kind of giving me an idea of who all is going to be, who all was going to be there. And what I specifically want to know is who, like, of the brands, so like Sorinex couldn't come. Have they signed up? Have people like that signed up to come? I know Rogue signed up already to come back, but some of the brands that weren't able to make it this past year, how many of them have signed up to try to get a mulligan? I think that's what we were talking about when you said that.
I think Sorinex hasn't signed back up. Surplus Strength signed back up.
Okay.
Let's see. Like companies like GetRx or Vulcan, they have not signed back up. So I don't know. I mean, we're still.
What's your vendor count right now?
It's like 63.
Nice.
63, and then the overall space that's taken up is already more than what was filled up last year.
So that's 63, including the 2 mystery vendors.
Correct.
Okay. And year 1, how many vendors we had total?
I think about 28 showed up.
All right. So we're not even into July. We're not even really into the summer yet. And you already got more vendors than you had in year 1. That's awesome.
Well, I think got the initial rush of vendors signed up, and now it's probably going to be like a slow and steady one a week or so until the event.
All right, so we got a question. Joey wants to know what happened with GetRx and Vulcan. I don't remember. I know Sorinex had like someone pass away in that, so they weren't, or they had some sort of tragedy, so they weren't able to be there for that reason. I don't know anything. I don't, if you feel comfortable about talking about the GetRx and Vulcan thing.
I think, I think certain companies just kind of filled up their schedule, or they were just busy at the time and decided that it wasn't worth the trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we got a specific question about Crandall Fitness. Did they sign up?
Crandall Fitness has never signed up. He is, he's still working Border Patrol. So it's like one of those things where he doesn't know his schedule. And there's a couple companies who are like that. They're like, I can't plan that far out in advance because of my day job. So no, nothing from Crandall Fitness yet.
He'd probably be a good. So I was watching your recap with Ashton and the other guys, and I think Ashton said that he's open to letting other vendors kind of like share booth space with him. So that might be something that might work out. But yeah, Sean Crandall, his thing is that he never, because of the seniority he's like, I never have weekends off, so there's no way he could be there. That's the main reason why he hasn't been there.
And he'd be a good one to have, and he would fit right in with the community. Yeah.
Oh heck yeah. See, he can stand next to Sean. So Sean Crandall and Sean Donaldson can stand next to each other and figure out who could dunk on who, because they're both stupid tall, unnecessarily tall. So we did address this. Half Stitch says, can we have a separate day just for content creators to get their interviews? So we addressed this first, but do you want to give him like a elevator speech answer to that one?
Yeah, I think it's kind of up to the companies and content creators to get it on the schedule, whether that is Thursday while most companies are setting up during like specific times during the day, on Friday, Saturday. So I think, and also just be mindful of the fact that, we have hundreds and thousands of people maybe coming in, and they should be as important as the content creators. And also just like keep in mind, many of these vendors it was their very first time even being a part of something like this. So I'm sure they were a little frantic, didn't necessarily know kind of the proper way to do certain things, got excited. And you know, if something like that did happen to you, I would just try and give them a second chance, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in general, I think the most important thing is just mindfulness of that being something that you shouldn't do.
Gotcha. All right. One thing. Oh, okay. That's actually a good question. All right. I see your question, Eric. I'll jump on that in a second. Another thing I noticed is you had the option, not every company lets you do this, but you had the option of buying stuff like right there. Like, hey, I got cash, you got a thing. I'll give you what you want, which is money. You give me what I want, which is that thing, right? What we didn't have enough of that I was able to do year one is companies that were like, hey, okay, this is a ginormous thing. You can't fit this power rack in your suitcase. But because you're here, I'll let you buy it from my website and you'll get the same discount because you're here, right? So you come in, you try it out now, buy it, we'll ship it to your house. And I get that they may not want to give you the same discount because now they got to deal with shipping. There's still a shipping cost, right? But I would love to see something like where they say, all right, if you're paying it, picking it up and driving home with it, you get, let's say 15% off or whatever the discount is. If you're at the event and you're buying it, but you're going to buy it from their website, standing right next to them, maybe you get 10% off just because you came, you know, as a perk, I guess, of being at the event. I wanted, that would be something that I want to see vendors do. And I don't know if anybody's in the chat who's able to do this, you know, let me know, because I didn't really see that capability. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see people like with the square, like, hey, I'm going to pay right here and give you the square and let's go, whatever. I didn't see a lot of that. And in year one, that's how I actually got, so I mentioned the bare naked powerlifting bar. That's how I got it. I got it off of their website. They just shipped it to my house. Because I mean, I was like, where am I going to I can't drag this bar home with me. And I'm not going to have room again next year. Okay. So that's, maybe it's selfish, but that's what I want. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't want to like really dictate companies' strategies for their booths, because some may just want to do like a showcase of their best products and have that be more for their reputation. Whereas others would rather, you know, try and get as many sales as possible. Like if you are a smaller made in America manufacturer and this is your like, and you have stuff that people can carry home, you might want to do more of that. Or I guess you want to focus on people taking home in person. And then maybe like, I know, like I see Joey's comment, like Bells of Steel, they have a lot of like trade show experience. So this is why they're good at that. So they know like a lot more people are more apt to buy in person. So you see they got their 15% off in-person discount and ship to their stuff. So I think like, again, that comes with experience of doing these things. And I mean, I'm all for it. The more discounts, the more giveaways, the more reason to give people to come to this, the happier I am. But I don't want to like ever dictate anyone's strategy by saying you have to be more ready to do this.
I don't mean like you're telling them what to do. I mean more like an educational thing, because HomeGymCon isn't like URSA. So if you go to URSA, for anybody who doesn't know, you're going to URSA because there's going to be like Lifetime Fitness will be there. Well, they're not planning on buying. So they're going to create a contract with you to outfit all of their facilities around the US. Well, they're not going to take all of that back home with them. So it is more of a, hey, we're showing each other a face. We're kind of establishing a relationship. We'll talk later on the phone, you know, next week and set all that up. So so when you go to a trade show, you're not expecting to sell things. What I'm saying is like HomeGymCon is more of an event, and they're not, because they've never been to HomeGymCon. They don't know that we're coming with money expecting to be able to buy stuff. Some people are saving up their money all year long like, oh, I see this thing here. I got one question about it, but if it's good, I'm buying it on the spot. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I mean. Like to educate them, to let them know, hey, be prepared. People might want to buy your stuff on, immediately. You know what I mean? Matthew wants me to rent a U-Haul trailer in Louisville. I mean, that is an idea. He said he just loaded his truck up to bring everything home. Yes, I know Microgains had a discount code. Mike, when he was on before HomeGymCon, he mentioned that he's going to have a discount code that weekend. And then also Executive Fit, they said, you could, if you wanted to pick up stuff, and I think Dean from Black Widow had this too. It's like if you put in an order with him, you could pick it up at HomeGymCon and you would pay, because you wouldn't have to pay for shipping. So those are good things. Let's go to Eric's comment. He said, is there going to be security to let people in and out and be more time specific? Saying French like there wasn't, because people just came down early and stayed late, which was kind of like my reaction when they said, well, we should open when somebody, not you, said, well, maybe if the doors open earlier. I'm like, the thing wasn't open technically till 9. People were already in there at 7 hanging out. So on both days. So it was kind of like, hey, once there are people in there, we're going to go in there. And then also, I know that a few content creators like Tim was down there from Gym Crafter. He was down in there like 1 o'clock in the morning getting footage, like shooting his videos. It was like, because he was like, this is the only time I can do it. So what do you had to, like, what's your response about the security thing?
Yeah, I think I don't know all of those answers, but I do know that we'll have to be more mindful of like badges and stuff like that. So like definitely try and create a more like legitimate media team, like lanyard or something like that. Something also for premium ticket purchasers to give them a little bit more access as well. But I don't think it's going to be like crazy tied down. Like I don't think like there's not going to be like there's going to be vendors. We have access till midnight, right, all days. So like, yeah, I think do whatever just makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'm all in favor of not having tons of rules, but hey, I'm looking forward to getting a media badge. I actually believe so. This just shows like the nerd in me, because one of my prized possessions is my media pass from the Arnold. Just because, so when I first went to the Arnold, I just went there, just going as a person, just going and enjoying it as a, I don't know what you call it, patron attendee. And then because you have to apply for the media pass, when I got it, I was like, I felt like I won a trophy, so I got it and I hung it up. I was like, this was kind of like the first, oh, I'm legitimate. I'm not a poser. And then I was also like to Naomi, I was like, I can't believe they let us have one of these. This is amazing.
It's too easy.
So, yeah.
But I also, as I'm thinking about it, I do want to mention there's not going to just be security, like letting people in and out of the area during like setup times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
I got you. We have 332. For those who don't know, Ashley's name is 332. Because that's how many underscores she has in her Instagram handle. It's Ashley ___ the ___ amazing ___. So there you go. That's the only way I can remember it. 332. Anyway, so you set up the Home Gym Discord, which I think was a great idea. But not enough people are members and not enough people are on Discord. So give a quick commercial to people for the HomeGymCon Discord, which is not the same thing as the Home Gym Discord. And for those who are members, is that the best place for them to send you? Because everybody's got suggestions and feedback and stuff. So is that the best place for them to send that feedback? I know you had the Instagram post, but like, is the Discord the best place for them to give you that kind of feedback and suggestions?
Yeah. So the HomeGymCon Discord kind of was one of those like, oh, this might be a good idea to get everyone together. It started off as just for like vendors, and I think like maybe 15 joined. It was more of like an idea or a concept for them to like be able to chat with one another. And then that didn't really take off. So sent it as an option for all of the ticket purchasers to sign up. It was like kind of like a perk of signing up for HomeGymCon. And I think like when that was sent out, maybe 100 tickets were purchased at the time. And, you know, maybe 30 or 40 people signed up. And then there was some decent discussion in there as far as like, hey, maybe I'll bring this. You know, it's a good place to ask me questions, good place to ask other people like what their plan is. And yeah, like you said, in general, it just never really took off, but there's still a lot of people in there. And I was just going to open it up to everybody. So maybe I'll do that now. So like if you want to join the HomeGymCon Discord, join. It's kind of like it was kind of like a hidden perk of being a part of HomeGymCon, but I need to figure out a way to make it more accessible to more people so that the conversation can happen. Cause like you said, there's like, maybe you have 500 ticket purchasers, but only like 75 of them have Discord. Only like 30 of them are open to it or want to join. So it's like, it's a select group of people. Yeah. So yeah.
So the one thing that I saw, aside from being able to give the back and forth, one thing I saw that was a benefit is you had people who were selling stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, I'll sell this. Meet me in the parking lot at HomeGymCon. And there's a fair amount of that going on. Joey said it was a good way to plan a little and ask questions. And it's also a good place Joey was really good about this. As he would see somebody's video come out about HomeGymCon, he would post it in the link to it in the HomeGymCon Discord. So we were able to see it. I was able to watch stuff that I didn't even know was out by seeing it in there the first time I saw it because Joey posted about it. So that was kind of cool.
So I would say if there's anybody that wants to be like an admin to the HomeGymCon Discord, let me know, because it's one of those things where it's got to be like someone's job. Like someone needs, like you really need to focus on it and also just know what you're doing in Discord. Because I also kind of just winged it, not knowing how to really set a Discord up. And there were like small issues that like affected people joining and this and that. So,
I mean, you can have giveaways, you can have like little, you could have a contest and people could say, okay, well, if you win the contest, hey, we'll pay for your HomeGymCon ticket or just whatever, or that kind of thing. And it could be a sponsored thing. So like a company in the Discord can sponsor, say, hey, we'll pay for you to go to we'll pay for your HomeGymCon ticket if you win this thing in here or whatever. And I just like the idea of it.
There's wheels on that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the most common bit of feedback you're getting from the vendors? Because I can see the feedback you're getting from us. What's the most common bit of feedback you're getting from the vendors who were at the event, whether they were there the first year and this time, or even if they were just there this past time? What are they just telling you, good, bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, honestly, it's been mostly good. The feedback about like the not necessarily negative feedback, but the feedback was that it was tough to get to French Lick. And I think that was primarily it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I mean, most of it was good, which is, I mean, I would love a little more constructive criticism. I think like, I don't like this. I mean, honestly, your feedback like today and just all the kind of tougher questions has been the most difficult ones, which isn't necessarily a good thing, which is, I appreciate it.
You're like, never coming back on here again.
No, I appreciate it. I don't take anything too hard. And I really just want the best event. So, So I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, I think as it like gets a little bit, I think most people were surprised in a good way as to how like successful
The
it
vendors,
was.
you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like in a good way. So I don't think they necessarily knew what to expect. A lot of them didn't have trade show experience in the first place. So so I think that like I didn't get too much feedback at all. So
Gotcha. So we got a question from Joey. This is I'll just throw it up there. It says, do you know if Rogue has heard the feedback on their media policy? It'd be great for them to have someone who can go on camera next year. To just have a person. We talked about this, I think, a little bit last week, and you've also talked about it in some other places where, you know, if you could just have one person who's designated as the person who answers the questions. That person has been given the talking points. They know what they can and cannot say. I think they even talked about it on the Massonomics podcast as well. I heard him, Tommy and them talking about it. So I guess the question to you is, do you know if Rogue has heard and have they responded to the feedback about the media policy?
I have no idea.
All right.
I know they signed up day 2 or like right away.
Yeah.
So that's great.
That's actually interesting to see if like they'll take it as a challenge. Like, okay, we see what happened. We see what people were asking. You know, hey,
it's a good sign. It's a good sign. Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. This is something. So there were vendors who were at the event year 1, who then didn't return for year 2. Have any of them said, you know what, we'll be back for year 3 because it's in Louisville now, or whatever?
So Ashton from Freedom Fitness Equipment, he changed his mind. So he decided to go year 2 as like a content creator as opposed to a vendor.
Right.
And he must have decided that as he was there. Like, I'm coming back as a vendor. So him, and then honestly, there were only like maybe like 5 companies that didn't come back from the first year. I think there was only one company that was like, this wasn't what we were looking for. They were looking for more of like a trade show experience.
Okay.
And they were a little upset as to like how many people were there and didn't necessarily think it was worth it. I have not heard back from them. I did email them and just say like, hey, Louisville should be a little different, something to think about. Like Perch, they came the first year. They were kind of like, you know, they're more geared towards facilities. And
it's about the people who make the mounts that you can stick on your rack for your phone and stuff.
No, Perch is like an AI type.
I thought you were talking about Perch mount. You know what I'm talking about? They have like the little things you could stitch your phone on.
No.
Yeah, it's called Perch mount, and you put it on your power rack, and it holds your phone basically.
Dynabody. No, Dynabody's a Dynabody. I'm reading the comments. Dynabody. They were acquired by Carolina Fitness Equipment, and are now just more focused on facilities. But Big Mike, the guy from Dynabody, said he loved going to French Lick. So, and then, you know, Brian Hennessy, he like, I think he's just kind of year to year as far as like, he's not going to make a decision 13 months out in advance. He's kind of like, let's see where the business is.
What? Hey, 13 years, I'll still be coming. I will say, as far as Dynabody goes, look, I've known Heavy Harris since 1997, and his thing was, you know, he's always wanted like to see the ROI, but he also had like, you know, some health issues. So I wasn't actually surprised when they didn't return, but like you said, they got acquired by somebody else anyway. And again, I mean, look, we got to be realistic about our place in the landscape. You know, there's a lot more money in facilities.
For sure.
You know, like Dynabody trying to outfit Georgia Tech. You know, it's gonna make that's a lot more money than outfitting every single I don't know follower that you and I have who's got a home gym.
Yeah.
Ashley, I'm trying to I see your question about the Discord. I'm actually pulling the reason I keep looking off to the side is because I'm pulling it up right now to get an invite link that I can post in here for you guys to be able to hopefully join the Discord. So there. All right, but go ahead, Jake.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
We're talking about Dynabody.
Oh, I was going to talk about the like commercial gym companies. I would love to get some of the like Life Fitnesses or Hammer Strength of the world, not necessarily like maybe just to bring a few things. They wouldn't necessarily need to like bring like their entire catalog, but just to bring a few things that some people might consider for their home gym. And I think there's enough like the types of people that go are the ones that really help spread the word. So I would love to get, you know, we mentioned like home gym companies only, but like there's definitely people who are putting commercial gym equipment, maybe just a piece or two, but
Right.
they're putting them in their home gyms. So I would love to get more companies like that.
I mean, when I was back in the 20th century, in 2001, when I first started my home gym, that's what we actually did for home gym stuff. I mean, you weren't buying. So Marcy's on my mind because I'm about to do a review of one of their products, but nobody in their right mind bought Marcy or even Body Solid, to be honest with you, because at the time that stuff wasn't the highest quality. They weren't selling commercial grade. Like you couldn't get, if you wanted a 3x3 rack, 11 gauge steel, you had to buy something that used to be in somebody's high school. And so like my first power rack was a Dynabody. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. My fourth power rack was a Dynabody rack. And that's the rack I had the longest. And it was in my school. So I think there's a long tradition of that sort of thing. I see your question, Half Stitch. I'll ask that next. But Mike says he won the perch in year one. He said there's more trouble to use than he anticipated. I mean, you know, that might, again, that's the other thing. That's the double-edged sword of the of something that's intended for commercial use. It's not necessarily a good fit for a home gym. So not to dunk on Mayhem Strength, but their bench, it was nice, but it doesn't store vertically. At least the one that they brought doesn't store vertically. And it just, and I'm like, that right there would stop me from having it in my home gym because space is at a premium. So I'm just not gonna do it. Right. So I think some of the stuff that people brought was like, oh, this is the thing that, you know, it's a hit in like the public gyms that we put it in. And then it's not a fit for us because we're looking for other things. So as you said, it's kind of like the process of educating companies. Just say, hey, if you want to be part of this community, you got to, like, we kind of look at things a little bit differently, if that makes sense. So, and let's go with the question about right here. So, and I see, is there an update to Sean's BAMFHammer situation? And Ashley said that he's got half the money raised and he sent it to the manufacturer. Yeah, I see that. I'll pop that up next, Joey. So yeah, actually, oh golly, I didn't actually mean to do this, but I'll go ahead and I'll post a link to support BAMF. You can Venmo him. I think he said just Venmo him $1. He just wants everybody to Venmo him $1, and that'll help him raise money. He's had some issues with his company that Jake, you interviewed him, so I'll let you touch on that. But you know, he's one of us, and he's looking for some support. So you can go ahead and you can answer anything you have to add to answer the question about the update to Sean's situation.
Yeah, I saw he posted online or on Instagram this morning. So he did raise about. So first of all, he had, long story short, he had manufacturing issues. where and then the manufacturer ultimately pulled out. Like they just sold the company. A lot of different things popped up for BAMFHammer over the years, and they basically said he needed to pay $10,000 to get the molds back so that he can try and, start fresh with somebody else, which he's like really wants to do, just didn't know if it was going to happen. He did a couple of lives and raised like half of the $10,000, sent it to them, I think earlier this week, and they are going to release the molds. And I'm guessing he has to like pay them the rest back later. So I think donations and then just like buying the hammers when they're first available will certainly help. But yeah, he said there's a little bit of light so there's a little bit of hope with this company.
All right, so I'm actually looking at the Discord thing right now, and I don't see an invite link that I can share. But if you can just I guess you just put in your HomeGymCon Instagram, put in the link in your bio, and it should have you can copy it. Basically, you copy the link, and then as long as you don't, you have to change the settings so that the invite doesn't expire, because otherwise it defaults to expire in 7 days. So if you just set it up so that the link doesn't expire, then you can post it in your HomeGymCon bio, the link there, and people will be able to join without a problem. And then once you do that, I'll put the link in this video in the comments or in the description.
All right, I just emailed it to you.
All right, here we go. Let's do that right now. So look at this. Technology may be working on our side. And do you remember what Sean's Venmo is? I mean, do you remember what his Venmo is?
It's like Sean-Richardson-BAMFHammer.
Okay, because we can put that in there as well. My internet is doing the things. There we go. Copy link address. All right, Ashley, here you go. There's that link. And for anybody who's watching on replay, the link is in the description for the video as well. But for everybody who's on live chat, the link is populating in the live chat, and I'll keep it on. There you go. So you guys can just see it right now. All right. Okay. So only one more question. This is just out of curiosity. Have you done an AMA on our home gym about HomeGymCon?
When did
I know you've done AMAs
like a year ago, like maybe like 6 months ago or something like that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right. So,
there has not been much traction on HomeGymCon on Reddit at all. It's more like negative feedback. Like, why would people get together? Why would people from home gyms get together to train? Why is it in French Lick? That type of stuff.
Yeah. And that's one of those things is that's what I was going to say, because I'm like, people on Reddit are even more introverted than most home gym people. Because you think about it, Reddit is not, you typically wouldn't post like videos of yourself working out, but on Instagram you do. So the people who choose Reddit as their primary social platform, they're going to lean more and more introverted like than the typical home gym owner, I guess. So if you get any of them, that's a win.
Right.
And Joey said you can now get a lot of capabilities of Perch in an app on your phone. All right, well, that's it. Unless you guys and Ashley said Mike also messaged the link. So you're welcome. 332. We play cousins. We do everything we can for you. Joey says the home gym Discord was very skeptical, but there was a ton more interest in year 2 and expects that to grow. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's one of those things that as people become more educated about what it is, it's not just, Jake Jaworski's retirement cash grab. It's actually a good thing, for, like I said, it's a good thing for all of us. And if I didn't believe in it, we wouldn't be here talking about it as often as I do. But I do believe in it. I think it's a good thing. All right, man. I appreciate you being here, taking time with me again. Once again, I've kept you way longer than I planned, but that's a good problem to have, right? So you see, everybody's always like, how could you do a 3-hour show? I'm like, man, I always end up running out of time. I'm like, I got more stuff to talk about. I always end up running out of time. It's not it's not a problem at all. Even like the stuff that I post, like when I say, hey, tales from my inbox, where I show like, my wife is like, how do you even find these emails? I was like, that segment writes itself. I get crazy junk all the time. I'm like, it's effortless. So yeah, this show is one of the most fun things I do all week. So
well,
yeah.
when you have a network like you do, you can kind of just reach out to people, see if they want to hop on, and there's like 45 minutes right there.
Oh heck yeah, and we're kind of like we're talkers. So yeah, so there you go. All right, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, so that was the man himself, Jake Jaworski, and this was yet another successful episode of Way Too Early for a Friday morning show. Thank everybody for being here. Next week, we got another cool episode. We're going to have Dennis Solis. He's going to help us pick out dumbbells. USPC President Johnny Lane, who is a home gym owner, is going to here to talk about powerlifting meets, helping you pick out meets that are near you in case you'd like to compete on the platform. Let's say you've bought some wrist wraps from Athletic Over Everything and you're like, hey, I want to test these suckers out on the platform. Well, then you can go ahead and find a meet in the USPC. Plus, we'll have a live appearance from the man himself, Sean Donaldson from Bear Steel Equipment. That is coming up next week. So once again, thank you guys for being here. Couldn't do this without you. Keep on sharing that link. And I'll see you next week.